Phoenix Nights. Chapter 1826. An ancient stone tablet stood tall on the red ground. On the stone tablet, there was only one ancient word. No one could recognize this word. However, everyone knew what it was. This was because there was a kind of Tao aura on the word, which transmitted the same message to everyone. That message was death. This was a stone tablet with the word death carved on it. The words were incomparably ancient, at least from the ancient desolate era. Long Bideo seemed to know how powerful the word death on the stone tablet was. He didn't dare to look at it directly. The crowd almost fell for it too. Fortunately, Gu Fei shouted at the critical moment, waking everyone up. However, Gu Fei soared into the sky and arrived in front of the death character. He carefully observed and studied the death character. Boom! Endless murderous intent rushed towards him. Gu Fei's divine sense entered a strange world. This was a kind of artistic conception contained in the word death on the stone tablet. In the blurry world, a shocking murderous intent burst out. Countless illusory figures wielding divine weapons rushed towards Gu Fei. Rumble! The world shook as if there was a huge army charging at them. That imposing manner shocked the heavens, causing even the legs of half-saints to turn soft. Unfortunately, Gu Fei wasn't an ordinary half-saint. Roar! Facing the shocking murderous intent, he let out a roar. His long hair fluttered in the wind as he charged forward with the 9 heaven stars sword, facing the army alone. At this moment, in front of the word death on the stone tablet, Gu Fei's true body suddenly burst out with a shocking battle intent. A purple gold divine light shone from his forehead. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. They couldn't understand why Gu Fei would suddenly do this. It was as if he was fighting with someone. This kind of powerful aura was not unfamiliar to them. Especially Qiu Wuqing. 10 days ago, he had just fought with Gu Fei. He knew that the current Gu Fei and Gu Fei were very dangerous. What is he doing? Everyone was bewildered when they saw Gu Fei's expression as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Could it be that the word death caused Gu Fei to have no choice but to go all out to resist it? No one dared to look at the death character on the stone tablet. They didn't even dare to glance at it. That was because the death character had an irresistible magical power that could devour everyone's mind. Only Gu Fei dared to look at the word death in detail. Hence, only Gu Fei's spiritual will could enter that strange world. This was a near-invincible killing intent that evolved into a world of slaughter. It could devour one's soul and turn one into a walking corpse. The soul was destroyed, leaving only the physical body. This was the most thorough way to die. Gu Fei's soul was extremely powerful, and he had cultivated his own primordial spirit by chance. This gave him the capital to face the shocking killing intent of the death character on the ancient tablet. Kill! Gu Fei's spiritual will transformed into a silhouette. This silhouette was no different from Gu Fei. It displayed a powerful combat strength and directly charged into the countless silhouettes ahead. Boom! A great battle erupted. The entire hazy world was shaking. Gu Fei and his sword went on a rampage. A large number of silhouettes were disappearing. These weren't real people, they were a type of killing intent. It was hard to imagine that the death character on the stone tablet would have such a powerful killing intent that it could transform into an army of thousands. This was absolutely shocking. If an ordinary half-saint, or even a quasi-saint's spiritual will were to enter this world of slaughter, it would probably be destroyed by this shocking killing intent. Gu Fei's soul was extremely powerful. Hence, his spiritual will was equally powerful. Silhouettes were disappearing under his divine sword. The countless silhouettes formed from the shocking killing intent couldn't resist it either, displaying its invincible prowess. Be it his physical body or his spiritual will, they were imprinted with Gu Fei's unyielding battle intent. His state of mind that sought the strongest power wouldn't waver in the slightest. Clang! Just as Gu Fei was slaughtering, he suddenly felt the divine sword in his hand vibrate violently. Then, he saw a general wielding a halberd, riding a tall horse and charging towards him. This is... Gu Fei was shocked. He felt a powerful pressure from this general. This general was very powerful. In this world of spiritual will, this general's body actually showed signs of turning into a physical body. One thought to create heaven and earth. The person who wrote this word on the stone tablet must have a cultivation base that can shake the heavens and earth. Gu Fei was very surprised. In this illusory world, he had met an opponent. Roar! The general wielded a halberd and blocked Gu Fei's divine sword. Then, he launched a powerful attack towards Gu Fei, forcing Gu Fei to be careful. Humph! Although it was a silhouette formed from spiritual will, Gu Fei's battle intent didn't diminish at all. He moved quickly and clashed with the general. Very strong. This is definitely the spiritual will of a quasi-saint or above. Gu Fei knew that the true body of the general was extremely powerful. The will he had left behind was also extremely powerful. The halberd in his hand even tore through the space between heaven and earth and pierced through it. Clang! Gu Fei's divine sword clashed violently with the opponent's halberd once again. Both of them were sent flying. It was hard to tell who would win. Why does this halberd look so familiar? Gu Fei suddenly realized that the halberd in the hands of the general seemed to be very similar to the black halberd that Qiu Wuqing refined himself. Could it be that this general is actually a divine demon? Gu Fei was very shocked. A strand of the ancient fiend god's will was left here, and then it fought against his will. This was too inconceivable. The aura emitted by the man and the horse was indeed extremely ancient. However, in such a murderous world, the spirit had probably been refined by the murderous world a long time ago, becoming a different kind of existence in this world. Without its own consciousness, this spiritual will was just a puppet. The ancient sage's methods are indeed shocking. At this moment, Gu Fei had already thought that the word, death, on the stone tablet was probably written by the ancient sage himself. The word, death, contained a strand of the ancient sage's murderous intent. In the end, Gu Fei still managed to disperse this powerful spiritual will. The general and the war horse under him disappeared from this blurry world. However, Gu Fei didn't have it easy either. Even though it was just a strand of spiritual will, he still felt a wave of fatigue. At this moment, even more powerful spiritual will waves rushed out from the depths of this blurry world. What? Gu Fei was shocked. There were even more powerful existences in this world. How could this be possible? Swoosh! Chapter 1827. 3 blurry silhouettes walked out from the depths of this murderous world. These were 3 shadows formed by 3 incomparably ancient divine wills. These 3 shadows were very powerful. They were even more terrifying than the army that Gu Fei had destroyed. It was as if 3 supreme sages had descended upon this world. This is... Gu Fei was extremely shocked. These 3 figures were not ordinary. They had the aura of sages. If he guessed correctly, these were the divine wills left behind by 3 sages. Even the divine wills of a sage were trapped here. That sage must have been very powerful. Even ordinary sages were no match for him. Could it be the legendary Sage King? Sages were also divided into different levels. The Sage King was far more powerful than ordinary sages. This was like the difference between an adult and a child. How could a child be a match for an adult? The divine wills of a sage were extraordinary. Even after countless years, these 3 divine wills were still extremely terrifying. This made Gu Fei feel a great threat. Swoosh! One of the 3 figures flashed and instantly appeared in front of Gu Fei. Then, he pressed his hand forward. A powerful force rushed out from his palm. Bang! Gu Fei placed his hands in front of his chest. He wanted to block this palm. However, the opponent's strength was too strong. He was actually sent flying backwards. The divine wills of a sage! Gu Fei's divine wills dissipated in the void. They had actually been dispersed by the opponent's palm. In front of the stone tablet, a drop of blood dripped from between Gu Fei's eyebrows. A wisp of divine wills had been dispersed. This caused his soul to suffer a great impact. Boss! He Tian was extremely shocked. He knew that Gu Fei had suffered a great loss. The word die was too strange. Even Gu Fei had suffered a great impact. Master! Seeing that a drop of blood had actually flowed from between Gu Fei's eyebrows, Gu Zhong and old Jiao could not help but be shocked. Zhong Limeng was even more shocked. That Gu Fei is injured. Long Ba Dao and the others couldn't help feeling bewildered. Gu Fei was incomparably powerful. He suppressed Azure Dragon and defeated Xiao Wuqing. He could be said to be the strongest among the younger generation. Even among the older generation, there weren't many who could be his match. That death word! Everyone was shocked and became even more fearful of the word on the stone tablet. Humph! Gu Fei snorted coldly. Then, his aura became even more powerful as a wave of divine will surged out from between his eyebrows. He attacked with all his might. A figure sat cross-legged between his eyebrows, emitting a mighty divine will. This was his primordial spirit. He used his primordial spirit. Shua! Gu Fei's primordial spirit transformed into a sword of the way and shot into the void, directly entering the hazy world. The sword of the way vibrated and attacked the three figures at the same time. This was a battle on the level of divine will. This kind of battle was extremely dangerous. If he was not careful, Gu Fei's primordial spirit would never be able to come out. The three figures seemed to sense the danger, and actually dodged at the same time. Then, they all reached out their hands and grabbed at Gu Fei's primordial spirit sword of the way. Saint-level divine will rippled through the entire murderous world. However, this time, the primordial spirit sword of the way displayed unfathomable power. This kind of sword of the way specialized in attacking primordial spirits. It was the nemesis of all divine wills. Even the divine wills of ancient sages were no exception. Shua! The three figures' extended hands were all torn to pieces. Even the three figures were almost torn apart. They suffered a great impact and the power of their divine wills was largely destroyed. Roar! The three figures roared at the sky. They were the divine wills of sages, but they could still retain a trace of intelligence. The sage laws of the Great Path erupted. Buzz! The entire world was instantly enveloped by the three sage laws, turning into a terrifying cage that sealed the sword of the way formed by Gu Fei's primordial spirit. The Saint Tao was displayed. Although it was not complete, it was still very terrifying. Countless sage Tao patterns appeared in the void, and the destructive power constantly obliterated the primordial spirit sword of the way. What? The primordial spirit sword of the way shook repeatedly. Gu Fei was extremely shocked. He never expected that after so many years, the three divine wills of sages would still be able to retain a trace of intelligence. They were not puppets in this murderous world. Rumble! The three great paths of sages were vibrating, and the sword of the way formed by Gu Fei's primordial spirit was shaking. It actually became unstable, sometimes taking the form of a human, and sometimes taking the form of a sword. Oh no! Gu Fei's main body could not help but change color. Even though the great path of sages was not complete, it was still almost invincible against the power of divine wills that were not at the level of sages. The three sage laws were displayed. Even though Gu Fei had used the 9 secrets of the immortal path, he still felt danger at this time. However, Gu Fei's primordial spirit was also extremely powerful. The 9 ancient characters of the immortal path vaguely appeared on his primordial spirit. The 9 ancient characters contained the supreme mysteries of the immortal path, and they temporarily blocked the sage laws that were about to obliterate them. Very well, I will use your hands to train my primordial spirit. Gu Fei's primordial spirit simply withdrew from the state of the primordial spirit sword of the way, and then directly sat in the middle of the 3 sage laws. He used the 3 sage laws to train his primordial spirit. The 9 ancient characters of the way of immortal path vaguely appeared on Gu Fei's primordial spirit. It had to be said that Gu Fei was taking a risk. If the 9 ancient characters of the way of immortal path could not withstand the 3 sage laws, his primordial spirit would be obliterated. Of course, Gu Fei was not an immortal cultivator. Even if his primordial spirit was obliterated, it would not greatly damage his primordial spirit. Gradually, the 9 ancient characters of the Way of Immortal Path on Gu Fei's primordial spirit became resplendent. The Tao of the Way of Immortal Path swirled, and there seemed to be the sound of chanting in the void. It was as if a supreme Tao ancestor was explaining the supreme mysteries of the Immortal Path. What? The 3 sage consciousnesses were shocked. This person was too heaven-defying. He was actually still cultivating his primordial spirit under these circumstances. Humph! One of the figures extended a finger, and a speck of divine light shot out, breaking through the seal of the 9 ancient characters of the Way of Immortal Path. With a pft, it pierced through Gu Fei's shoulder. Gu Fei's primordial spirit did not move at all. The place that was pierced instantly recovered. Swoosh! There was a flash of saber light, and it directly slashed into the 9 ancient characters of the Way of Immortal Path, splitting Gu Fei's primordial spirit into 2. However, there was a flash of divine light, and Gu Fei's primordial spirit was still as good as before. He cultivated the secret art of ascension. Whether it was his physical body or primordial spirit, he would recover in an instant. Although Gu Fei's primordial spirit was struck by the Tao laws of the 3 figures, he was not truly affected by such an injury. The 3 figures used all sorts of methods, wanting to obliterate Gu Fei's primordial spirit within the 9 characters of the Way of Immortal Path. However, they were shocked to find that Gu Fei's primordial spirit did not weaken under their attacks. Instead, it gradually grew stronger. What a guy! Chapter 1828. No one knew how powerful the ancient sages were. It was hard to imagine. It was just death, but the murderous intent contained within it could trap the divine will of a sage. At this time, Gu Fei's primordial spirit was sitting cross-legged in the world formed by the murderous intent, undergoing an unprecedented dangerous tempering. Rumble! The great path resonated, and the divine will of the 3 sages shook out the divine voice of the great path, trying to destroy Gu Fei's primordial spirit. The terrifying power destroyed the world and tore a hole in the murderous intent. What is that? At the moment when the murderous intent tore a hole in the world, everyone outside felt the vast and supreme aura of a sage. A sage? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. Even the powerful Long Bideo and Chiu Wuching were shocked. This was the divine will of a sage. It was so powerful that they almost couldn't breathe. What is he doing? It was hard to imagine that there was a sage's divine will coming out from the stone tablet. It shocked the heavens and the entire world changed color in an instant. The murderous intent made everyone shiver and their spiritual souls tremble. If one didn't become a sage, he would always be an ant. Only by breaking the heavenly path and becoming a sage could one jump out of the shackles of the world and be free to move freely among the 3 realms and 6 paths. He is fighting against the divine will of a sage. Long Bideo and the others were in disbelief. Gu Fei's spiritual soul was so powerful. How could it be so powerful? Gu Fei! Zhong Limeng looked at the figure in the sky, his eyes shining. Master Gu is really going to go against the heavens. Even He Tian, who knew Gu Fei's background, was shocked. The divine will of a sage was high and mighty, overlooking all living beings in the world. Buzz! The void shook, and the crack that was torn apart by the killing intent quickly disappeared. The fluctuation of the powerful and terrifying divine will of the sage also disappeared. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Swoosh! At this time, the divine light that shot out from Gu Fei's forehead became even stronger. There seemed to be a divine sun in his forehead, illuminating the world. A powerful spiritual fluctuation surged out from his mud pill palace. Too powerful! This doesn't seem like a soul that a half-saint should possess. Someone exclaimed in surprise. Boom! At that moment, someone suddenly made a move. A shocking murderous aura burst forth. Following that, a blood-colored divine spear pierced through the void, stabbing toward Gu Fei, who was standing in front of the stone tablet. How dare you! Courting death! He Tian, Gu Zhong, and the others were all shocked. They immediately attacked without any hesitation. They didn't expect that someone would make things difficult for Gu Fei at this time. Gu Fei had fought everywhere and defeated countless experts. He had many enemies. Among the experts invited by Long Bideo, there was actually someone who wanted to kill Gu Fei. Buzz! An almost transparent sword light rushed out from He Tian's body, rushing toward the person who suddenly attacked Gu Fei. Bang! Gu Zhong directly struck out with the divine fist of metal. Powerful metal true force erupted, shaking the void between heaven and earth. Cheng Tsang, what are you doing? Long Ba Dao was both shocked and angry. The person who suddenly attacked Gu Fei was one of the 12 experts he invited, Cheng Tsang. This person was a mighty lord with an incomparably powerful cultivation. He was a half-step immortal Dao saint. At this time, although He Tian and Gu Zhong had already made their moves, they were still half a step too late. The blood-colored divine spear had already pierced in front of Gu Fei. At this critical moment, Gu Fei suddenly moved. He reached out a hand towards the blood-colored divine spear that was piercing towards him. He directly used the power of his martial body to resist the blood-colored divine spear. What? Seeing this scene, the crowd was incomparably shocked. It was indeed unbelievable that Gu Fei could still move at this time. Wasn't his mind completely attracted by the word, die? This could only mean that this human martial body was really heaven-defying. Clang! The blood-colored divine spear collided with Gu Fei's left hand, emitting a metallic sound. The blood-colored divine spear actually could not pierce through Gu Fei's palm and was intercepted. Roar! Cheng Tsang roared angrily. Just when he was about to use a big technique to attack Gu Fei, He Tian's invisible divine sword was already in front of him. At the same time, Gu Zhong's fist also smashed over. The dazzling golden light was so dazzling that almost everyone could not open their eyes. Clang! Cheng Tsang used the blood spear in his hand to block the invisible divine sword. He then stretched out his left hand and collided with Gu Zhong's fist. The powerful fist force actually blocked Gu Zhong's golden fist of metal. This kid is so strong! Cheng Tsang's heart trembled. Gu Zhong's fist force was very strong, causing his left hand to feel numb. Swoosh! At the moment when Cheng Tsang and Gu Zhong's palms collided, a blood-colored light suddenly appeared on Cheng Tsang's shoulder. The invisible divine sword almost cut off Cheng Tsang's right shoulder and arm. This guy is also a half-sage. Cheng Tsang was shocked. However, in the next moment, he was shocked again. The invisible divine sword had a shocking murderous aura. When he was hit by the invisible divine sword, the murderous aura on the divine sword immediately invaded his body. The invisible divine sword was a holy weapon. The murderous aura contained within it was very terrifying. Although Cheng Tsang was a half-sage, he could not withstand such a level of murderous aura. Bang! The left half of Cheng Tsang's body exploded and turned into a bloody mist. He made a prompt decision to destroy a small part of his body and cut out the terrifying murderous aura that invaded his body. Everyone was shocked. This Cheng Tsang was really a terrifying person. He was extremely determined and decisive. He was a ruthless character. At this moment, Long Bideo's expression was very ugly. One should know that he was the one who invited Cheng Tsang here. Moreover, he used such a despicable method to kill Gu Fei. This made him lose face. Kill! He Tian rushed over. Countless formation runes rushed out from his body and branded into the void. An earth-shattering killing formation was set up in an instant. A formation in the void! Everyone was shocked. They had never imagined that He Tian was actually a formation grandmaster. Only a formation grandmaster could have such a method. Rumble! The killing formation was activated, trapping Cheng Tsang inside. Humph! Cheng Tsang sneered. Trying to trap him with this kind of killing formation was simply a joke. A normal formation would not be able to trap someone as strong as a half-sage. Buzz! Chapter 1829. BZZ. The power of the blood-colored divine spear was awakened. An extremely horrifying aura erupted from the spear, causing the entire killing formation to tremble as countless formation runes flickered. Cheng Tsang was extremely ferocious. He directly used his strongest power to break the formation. A blood-colored divine spear shattered the void, destroying countless formation runes. Humph! Tian was very displeased. This fellow actually dared to attack Gu Fei. With a flip of his right hand, a plate-sized formation platform appeared in his hand. Let me show you the power of your Grandpa He. Tian did not hesitate, and immediately took out the formation platform. This was a saint formation treasure he had refined. Tian had imprinted countless killing formations within it. As long as he could control this killing formation, he would be able to use all sorts of killing formations to trap and kill his opponent. This was equivalent to Tian personally attacking. Boom! The formation platform in Tian's hand shone with boundless divine light. Rays of immortal energy condensed into formation runes and flew out from the platform, imprinting themselves onto the killing formation. The violently shaking killing formation stabilized. He really trapped Qing Tsung. Everyone was incomparably shocked at this scene. One should know that Qing Tsung had an undamaged saint weapon. It was unbelievable that the killing formation could withstand the power of a saint weapon. At this time, Gu Zhong had already retreated, no longer attacking. In his opinion, this Qing Tsung had angered Tian and was destined to meet a tragic end. Roar! Within the killing formation, rays of destructive divine light crisscrossed. Qing Tsung roared in rage. He originally thought that after the saint weapon in his hand awakened, he could easily break through the killing formation and charge out. However, all of this was just Taoist Qing Tsung's wishful thinking. He had overestimated his own strength and underestimated his opponent's. Such a mistake was fatal. Within the killing formation, the destructive divine light was boundless. Even though Taoist Qing Tsung was very strong and had a flawless holy weapon in his hand, it was still difficult for him to completely block this kind of attack that came from all directions and had no blind spots. Pfft! A ray of divine light pierced through Qing Tsung's left shoulder, causing blood to blossom. Damn it! Taoist Qing Tsung's mind trembled. Immortal Tao God Force surged through his body, and the bloody hole on his shoulder quickly disappeared, as if he had never been injured. This was the formidable physique of a half-step saint. Although it was an immortal Tao divine physique, it had been continuously refined by the immortal Tao divine force. Its self-recovery ability was also very astonishing. Of course, cultivators who embarked on the path of the immortal Tao would not deliberately cultivate their fleshly bodies. However, once their cultivation base reached a certain level, even the divine body of the immortal Tao could become indestructible. Brother He, can you let Qing Tsung go? At this time, Long Bidao could see that Taoist Qing Tsung was no match for Tian. He couldn't even touch the corner of Tian's clothes. Long Bidao, I suspect that you're behind all of this. A faint smile appeared on Tian's face. His eyes were filled with yin and yang immortal force. Gu Zhong saw Tian's expression and knew that Tian was in danger. If Long Bidao said anything wrong, Gu Zhong would directly attack him. Please don't misunderstand, I have no intention of harming Brother Gu. It's just that I invited Taoist Qing Tsung. If he dies, I will be in big trouble, Long Bidao said. He knew how powerful Tian was. No one would underestimate a formation grandmaster. Relying on formations, their battle prowess would soar to a terrifying level. Tian was a half-step saint. With formations, he might be able to display the power of a quasi-saint, or even infinitely close to a saint. It's good that you don't have such thoughts. I will definitely kill Taoist Qing Tsung. Tian was still smiling mischievously. However, the crowd could not laugh because they sensed an extremely dangerous aura from Tian. While Tian was trapping Taoist Qing Tsung with the killing formation, Gu Fei, who was in front of the stone tablet, underwent another change. Chanting began to appear from his body. It was as if a supreme Tao ancestor was explaining the supreme immortal Tao. The cultivators of the immortal Tao were shocked to the extreme when they heard this Tao voice. Isn't he a martial artist? How could he resonate with the immortal Tao? To resonate with the Tao and produce Tao voice, he must be at least a half-step saint. At this moment, Even experts like Chiu Wuqing and Long Badeo could not help but be shocked. This Gu Fei did not seem to be as simple as a martial artist. Half-step saint of the martial Tao and half-step saint of the immortal Tao. How is this possible? There had never been anyone who could cultivate two cultivation techniques at the same time and reach the half-step saint realm. One must know that different cultivation techniques would repel each other. However, the crowd saw this impossible thing with Gu Fei. Buzz! The void shook and the death character on the stone tablet suddenly shone with a bright light. A powerful spiritual will burst out from the death character. After the strong light, the word, death, on the stone tablet became dim and almost disappeared. Swoosh! Suddenly, a spatial crack appeared in front of Gu Fei, and a tiny figure rushed out from it. It entered the space between Gu Fei's eyebrows and entered his mud pill palace. Loud chanting of scriptures rang out in Gu Fei's Naiwen palace. His immortal Tao primordial spirit had obtained great benefits from the world of killing will, and it had become even more powerful. The primordial spirit sat cross-legged in the Naiwen palace like a supreme immortal lord. Its body emitted divine light of the immortal Tao, and a ring appeared behind its head. 9 ancient characters of the immortal Tao appeared indistinctly in the void around the primordial spirit. Gu Fei clearly sensed the changes in his primordial spirit. A new life was being born and his primordial spirit was transforming towards the direction of the primordial spirit and Tao embryo. He was a warrior, and the immortal Tao primordial spirit was not the source of his power. This immortal Tao power would be cut out from his body one day. The transformation of the primordial spirit helped him find the direction. The primordial spirit and Tao embryo, this is a different kind of rebirth. Gu Fei was looking forward to it. But he knew that whether it was the martial body or the Tao embryo, it was all him and nothing would change. After the primordial spirit was refined by the killing intent, Gu Fei's primordial spirit finally reached the half-step saint realm and could resonate with the Tao. The spiritual wills of the 3 saints couldn't destroy his primordial spirit. You want to kill me? Gu Fei came back to his senses. His pair of divine eyes emitted a sharp divine light that was as sharp as a heavenly blade. He swept his gaze towards Taoist Qing Tsung, who was trapped in the killing formation and was unable to break out. Oh no! Qing Tsung was shocked. He wanted to kill Gu Fei when Gu Fei's primordial spirit was attracted by the death character on the stone tablet. However, he underestimated the strength of Gu Fei's martial body. He never thought that Gu Fei's martial body could fight against a flawless saint weapon that hadn't been awakened yet. That was a flawless saint weapon. Even if it hadn't been awakened yet, those half-step saint weapons and even quasi-saint weapons were like paper in front of a flawless saint weapon. Chapter 1830. Gu Fei did not hesitate. Since Qing Tsung wanted to kill him, he had to kill him. This was the rule of the cultivation world. Countless years had passed, and it had never changed. Boom! Gu Fei's entire body radiated with martial arts light. He was like a god of war from ancient times. He rushed down from the sky and entered the killing matrix. You! Qing Tsung was shocked to see that Gu Fei had entered the killing matrix so easily. It was as if he had entered an uninhabited area. Only then did he realize how powerful his opponent was. Battling Azure Dragon and defeating Chiu Wuqing, such a battle record was too dazzling. Some people didn't believe that Gu Fei had such battle prowess, and thought that it was just a boast, and Taoist Qing Tsung was one of them. Kill! Gu Fei was very direct. He threw a punch at Taoist Qing Tsung. The powerful energy fluctuation caused the entire killing formation to shake. Countless formation runes collapsed under his fist. Buzz! Qing Tsung attacked with all his strength. The blood-colored divine spear in his hand vibrated. The power of the Tao laws within the spear exploded, emitting the divine sound of the Great Path. Rumble! The two forces had not collided yet, but the whole world had already collapsed and was annihilated. It was extremely terrifying. Boom! Gu Fei's fist smashed into the blood-colored divine spear. The powerful force caused the spear to bend. Roar! Qing Tsung roared. Gu Fei's punch had caused his hands, which were holding the blood-colored divine spear, to be badly mutilated. In some places, even the bones were exposed. His flesh and bones were recovering. Qing Tseng's hands were completely healed in an instant. However, the shock that Gu Fei gave him caused him to turn pale with fright. Gu Fei was so powerful that he felt powerless to resist. This was not a good thing. Master has made his move. This person is dead. Gu Zhong and Old Dragon knew that Qing Tsang's fate was already determined. Even if he had a flawless divine spear in his hand, it would not change anything. With the array disc in hand, He Tian also stopped. Long Badeo and the others didn't want to offend Gu Fei. Although they didn't want to see a powerful semi-sage fall, they were helpless because Taoist Qing Tsang launched a sneak attack on Gu Fei. Gu Fei was in the right. Even if he had killed Qing Tsang, it wouldn't have been a big deal. One must know that if Gu Fei wasn't strong enough, he would have been killed by Qing Tsang on the spot during his sneak attack. There was no room for mercy in the world of cultivation. Mercy to the enemy was cruelty to oneself. Without any suspense, the entire killing formation was shattered by Gu Fei's power. The endless array patterns dissipated in the void. Taoist Qing Tsang spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. The blood-colored divine spear in his hand had already been snatched away by Gu Fei. Humph, if you want to kill me, you should be prepared to be killed by me. Gu Fei's voice was emotionless. In his opinion, Taoist Qing Tsang was already a dead man. It wasn't that Taoist Qing Tsang wasn't strong. A semi-sage expert would be a hero no matter where he was. It was just that Gu Fei was too strong. He was almost invincible among his peers. How could Taoist Qing Tsang be a match for Gu Fei in a battle of the same level? Swoosh! Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly caught up with Taoist Qing Tsang, who was sent flying. Then, he used the divine spear to lift Taoist Qing Tsang up. Scarlet blood flowed down the shaft of the divine spear. Tell me, why did you sneak attack me? Gu Fei didn't want to beat around the bush. He wanted to know directly why Taoist Qing Tsang wanted to kill him. It should be known that it was his first time meeting Taoist Qing Tsang. Could it be that Taoist Qing Tsang had a powerful backer behind him? Gu Fei knew that he had offended many people. Among them were some powerful forces, such as the Buddhist sects of the West Earth, and the Chaos Demon Lord from the Third Buddha Heaven. If you want to kill me, then kill me! Taoist Qing Tsang was very straightforward. He knew that it was impossible for him to survive after falling into Gu Fei's hands. He only wished for a quick death and less torture. However, things wouldn't develop according to his wishes, because Gu Fei was in control of everything. Taoist Qing Tsang was in an extremely miserable state. His body was a bloody mess, and fist marks could be seen. There were even places on his body that had been pierced by Gu Fei's fists. Taoist Qing Tsang was like a water bag that was riddled with holes. Essence and blood constantly seeped out of his wounds and dripped onto the ground. Very good. 2 beams of divine light suddenly shot out of Gu Fei's eyes. These 2 beams of divine light directly broke through Taoist Qing Tsang's forehead and entered his Naiwen palace. Soul-searching art. Seeing Gu Fei use this secret technique, everyone was shocked. This was a soul-searching art that used this method to forcefully read the memories of the target. Gu Fei didn't care about Taoist Qing Tsang's life or death. He used the most overbearing soul-searching art. After Taoist Qing Tsang's soul was searched, his soul would be destroyed and he would die. If not, he would become an idiot. Roar! Taoist Qing Tsang's face revealed a sinister and terrifying expression. He was screaming in pain. His soul was suffering. This kind of pain that directly affected the soul was absolutely unimaginable. Very few people could withstand this kind of extreme pain. Everyone couldn't help but be moved. I see. Very soon, Gu Fei found out what he wanted to know. This Taoist Qing Tsang actually had such a background. No wonder this guy wanted to kill him. Gu Fei retracted the divine will that had invaded Taoist Qing Tsang's Naiwen palace. Then, Taoist Qing Tsang's entire head exploded and his soul was destroyed. Brother Long, let's continue. Gu Fei thought for a while and said to Long Bideo. Long Bideo opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't say anything. Then, he led the crowd past the stone tablet and walked into the range of the great formation set by the ancient sages. What's going on? Just as they passed the stone tablet, a rumbling sound came from the front. They saw that there was a Milky Way in front of them a dozen or so miles away. The torrential river flowed down for 1,000 miles. The rumbling sound was the sound of the water. It was like thousands of horses and soldiers were galloping, shocking everyone. Could it be that we have entered another world? It was impossible for them not to hear the sound of the river flowing. Why was it that they couldn't even hear the sound of the river flowing in front of the stone tablet? Chapter 1831. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. The ancient stone tablet stood in front of them and seemed to separate the two worlds. There was another world behind the stone tablet. This result was too shocking. Could this be the means of the ancient sages? This time, they had come to the cave of the ancient sage. The power of the ancient sage had already exceeded their imagination. If it wasn't for Gu Fei, just a stone tablet and the word death on it would have been enough to stop everyone's footsteps. Creating a world with a single thought. Perhaps this was the cultivation that a sage should have. Here you still have a choice. Go in or leave, Long Bideo said calmly. After crossing the stone tablet and entering the world behind it, he couldn't guarantee everyone's safety. No one knew what dangers they would encounter in the sage cave. Even a powerful half-saint might die in such a place if they were not careful. This is a great opportunity. I don't intend to give it up. The Taoist with the surname Hong pondered for a while. Since they were already here, they would not be satisfied if they didn't go in and have a look. Moreover, if it was so easy to obtain the things left behind by the ancient sages, this cave would have been long gone. Xiao Wuqing didn't say anything, but his face became solemn. Long Bideo looked at Gu Fei and He Tian. It's such a fun place. How can we not go in and have a look? He Tian said with a cheeky smile. There seemed to be a perpetual evil smile on his face. Brother Gu, Long Bideo said. Let's go in. Gu Fei didn't want to say anything more. He had even broken through the formation of the ancient sages. This cave was only left behind by the ancient sages. How could it scare him? Gu Zhong, Old Jiao, and Zhongli Meng nodded. However, they knew very well that after entering the world behind the stone tablet, they would have to follow Gu Fei closely. Gu Zhong and Old Flood Dragon were only at the first heavenly layer of Almighty level. Although Zhongli Meng was also at the first heavenly layer of Almighty level, her battle strength was much weaker than Gu Zhong and Old Flood Dragon. Gu Zhong was a martial artist, a natural-born war god. He was almost invincible among those of the same rank. Meanwhile, Old Flood Dragon had cultivated for tens of thousands of years and became a dragon with a single leap. His battle experience was incomparably rich. In comparison, although Zhongli Meng had the cultivation of a first heavenly layer Almighty, her battle prowess was lacking. She lacked the experience of fighting on the battlefield. She had to fight personally and constantly experience battles of life and death in order to accumulate her experience bit by bit. In the end, no one backed out. The attraction of the ancient sages was very strong. These people's cultivation had already reached a bottleneck, and they wanted to try their luck in the immortal cave. In this great world, strength was the most important thing. Very good. Long Ba Dao nodded. Other than the one who was killed by Gu Fei, there were still 11 people he invited. These 11 people were not weaklings. This was especially true for Xiao Wuqing and the woman with the divine bow. The strength of the two of them was obvious to all. It was more than enough for them to challenge the sage cave mansion. Perhaps only Long Bideo would be able to gather all these heroes together. The 11 people, including Long Ba Dao himself, Gu Fei and his 2 disciples, He Tian, and Zhongli Meng, a total of 17 people crossed the stone tablet and entered the world behind it. Rumble! The deafening sound of water once again reached everyone's ears. More than 10 miles away, the heavenly river was still in front, blocking everyone's way. There's a bridge upstream," someone exclaimed. Then, everyone looked upstream and saw that there was indeed a stone bridge spanning the two sides of the river 100 miles away. "Let's go." Long Ba Dao was the first to rush to the stone bridge upstream. An ancestor of his clan had once entered this place, and then drew a map of the places he had passed. With this map, Long Ba Dao could indeed walk freely around the periphery of the immortal cave. However, he did not dare to enter the inner part of the immortal cave. It should be known that the ancestor of the extraterrestrial divine mountain almost died when he entered the inner part of the immortal cave. Long Ba Dao could not enter himself, so he invited Gu Fei and the others. This was not to say that he was selfless and wanted to share the treasures in the immortal cave with everyone, but he really did not have a way to enter the immortal cave. One should know that in the immortal cave left by the ancient sages, the most precious treasures were stored in the deepest part of the immortal cave. If it were not for the fact that the extraterrestrial divine mountain was very special and not many people could come out, this immortal cave would have long been emptied by the people of the extraterrestrial divine mountain. A force like the extraterrestrial divine mountain had been passed down for countless years, and its depth was unimaginable to others. Even if it was the immortal cave of the ancient sages, if the resources of the extraterrestrial divine mountain were to be mobilized, there was a great chance that they could take it down. However, the reality was very cruel. The resources of the extraterrestrial divine mountain could not be revealed too early, so Long Ba Dao invited Gu Fei and the others to explore this immortal cave together. At this moment, everyone was shocked and came to the front of the stone bridge. This is... When everyone saw the stone bridge clearly, they were all very surprised. This stone bridge seemed to be built with the most ordinary stones. The bridge was not wide, only about 2 feet. The surface of the river was at least dozens of miles wide. The stone bridge actually crossed the river and extended to the other side. There was nothing supporting the bottom of the stone bridge. "There is no threat on the stone bridge, but we have to be careful under the bridge," Long Ba Dao said. "Be careful under the bridge." Zhong Li Meng's expression changed when he heard this. "Brother Long, is there something hiding in the river under the bridge?" Zhong Li Meng asked. "I'm not very sure, but you guys just have to be careful." Long Ba Dao's expression became serious. There was no danger on the stone bridge, but there was something unknown hiding under it. This was what the ancestor had told him when he came out of the extraterrestrial divine mountain. Ever since the ancestor had been injured in this immortal cave, he had not recovered, and his injury was gradually worsening. Now, the ancestor was almost at the end of his life and did not have many years left to live. The great path injury that the ancestor had suffered had penetrated deep into his soul and entangled with his spiritual soul. It was impossible for him to recover. "What, if everyone is not coming? I, Old Hay, will not wait for you." Chapter 1832. The stone bridge was simple and unadorned. It stretched across the river and extended to the other side. At this time, He Tian had already walked on the stone bridge. During this period, everyone was staring at him, but in the end, nothing happened. There was nothing strange. "Let's go." Long Badeo followed suit and walked towards the other side of the river. Some people wanted to soar into the sky and fly over the river, but as soon as their feet left the ground, they suddenly felt as if the sky above them was pressing down on them. "What's going on?" Everyone was shocked to find that no matter what kind of flying technique they used, they could only fly about 3 feet above the ground. There was a powerful force that they couldn't resist blocking their way. No one could fly over the river from the sky. There was a suppressing force set up by the ancient sages here. In the end, everyone had to walk on the stone bridge and cross the river. Everyone was very careful. Maybe there was something hiding under the river. Usually, these people could cross a distance of dozens of miles in an instant. But now, they could only walk forward step by step. "This ancient sage is so powerful. He actually only allows people to walk into his cave step by step, as if he is worshipping a supreme existence." He Tian muttered to himself. "As long as you have enough power, you can do the same," Gu Fei said. In the world of cultivation, everything was based on power. Only with great power could you gain the respect of others and decide the life and death of others. The river roared under the stone bridge. The waves splashed high into the sky. Without any danger, they had already walked more than 10 miles. At this time, a corpse suddenly floated over from upstream. It was a Taoist wearing a Taoist robe, floating in the water with his face up. "There's no sign of life. No need to be surprised," Long Bideo said. Very quickly, the corpse floated to the bottom of the stone bridge, and then it floated downstream. Very quickly, the corpse disappeared from everyone's line of sight. "Why is there a corpse here?" Everyone was shocked. Everything was very strange. The corpse that floated past seemed to have died not long ago, as if it was in a deep sleep. "Don't look at me. I don't know either." Seeing that everyone was staring at him, Long Bideo quickly explained. His understanding of this grotto heaven came from the description of the ancestor of the extraterrestrial divine mountain. The group continued walking forward. Wow! Suddenly, the sound of water splashing could be heard from the bottom of the bridge. Following that, a black shadow rushed out from the bottom of the bridge and pounced towards Zhong Li Ming. Fortunately, Zhong Li Ming was already on guard, and the moment the black figure charged out from the bottom of the stone bridge, she instinctively flashed behind Gu Fei. Bang! Gu Fei punched out and fiercely bombarded the head of the unknown monster. The monster was sent flying and fell back into the river. What? When everyone saw this scene, they were all shocked to the extreme. They became even more cautious. Gu Fei's punch was actually unable to shatter the monster's head. This was truly unsettling. This monster's body was too strong. There really is a terrifying creature hiding at the bottom of the river. Everyone's expression changed. One should know that on this stone bridge, they could not fly and could only walk forward step by step. If a large number of evil creatures attacked, they would also be in great danger. Gu Fei and the others quickened their pace. Boom! A muffled sound came from the bottom of the stone bridge. A huge figure poked out from the river, and an incomparably large head swallowed the person running in front. Courting death. Gu Fei did not retreat. Instead, he punched out with his primal chaos fist towards the giant head that was about to devour him. Boom! Two powerful forces that could make people tremble suddenly collided with each other, and an extremely powerful destructive force swept out in all directions. The river beside the stone bridge was affected, and the water rushed up to the sky. The giant head was smashed by Gu Fei's punch, but strangely, there was not much blood coming out of the head that was smashed by Gu Fei's punch. This was a creature that looked like a dragon. Its huge body sank into the river, and in the blink of an eye, it was washed away by the rushing river, and disappeared without a trace. Gu Fei opened the way in front, and behind him were He Tian, Zhong Limin, and Old Jiao. Behind Old Jiao were Long Bideo and the people he invited. Soon, they reached the opposite bank. Along the way, many powerful beings hiding at the bottom of the river attacked Gu Fei and the others. Some of them were covered in blood, and they were already injured. But Gu Fei had always been so strong, and the powerful beings that rushed out from the bottom of the bridge were no match for him at all. This is... When everyone walked down from the stone bridge, what appeared in front of them was actually a divine mansion world. There were towering mountains in front of them, and between the mountains, there were clouds and lingering spiritual qi. This place is very good. Seeing the scenery in front of them, everyone knew that this mountain range in front of them was a spiritual land where spiritual qi gathered. Cultivators who cultivated in this kind of spiritual land would be faster than cultivating outside. In the depths of this world, there were faintly discernible palaces that seemed real and illusory at the same time. That is the palace of the ancient sages. The thing we want should be stored there. Long Bideo saw the palace in the depths of the mountain range in front of them, and his eyes shone brightly. What should we do? Some people did not know what to do. Even a fool would know that if they continued forward, they would probably trigger the killing formation set by the ancient sages and die inside. It's up to you, Gu Fei said to He Tian. The formation set by the ancient sages was extraordinary, and no one dared to walk around it. Even Long Bideo became a lot more obedient after crossing the bridge. Very strange. Chiu Wuching, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke. Swoosh. At this moment, a flame shot out from the mysterious woman's divine bow and directly shot into the mountain range in front of them. Rumble! After the mysterious woman shot that arrow, the mountain range in front of them suddenly shook. An incomparably huge shadow appeared in the sky above the mountain range, and then looked down at everyone. Everyone sensed an extremely dangerous aura from that phantom. The arrow shot by the mysterious woman suddenly exploded in the air before it could really shoot into the mountain range in front of them. It turned into spots of spiritual chi and dissipated in the void. This formation. At this moment, He Tian's eyes lit up. Chapter 1833. A huge shadow stood in the air above the mountain ridge in front of them, looking down at them. At this moment, everyone felt an unimaginable pressure. The pressure of a sage. This thought appeared in everyone's mind. Although the phantom in front of them wasn't a real ancient sage, it had the majestic might of a sage. Rumble! The void rumbled. The great formation in front of them was activated and started to operate. The pressure of the saint gradually became stronger. It's not simple. The person who set up this formation is definitely a sage king. Erebus's eyes lit up. He had been observing carefully for a while before he said this. At this time, the frivolous expression on his face had long since disappeared. A formation set up by a sage king. Everyone was shocked. How could they break the formation? It was a waste of time for them to come here. It should be known that even a real sage might not be able to break the formation set up by a sage king. Brother Long, you're too unkind. Aren't you sending everyone here to die? The cultivator surnamed Hong said unhappily. It was a sage king formation. How could a half-step sage break it? If they barged into this formation, they would undoubtedly die. The other people's faces were also not optimistic. Everyone, there's no free lunch in this world. If you want to get something, you have to pay first. If you don't take risks, you won't get anything. Long Bideo said disapprovingly. You want to get the divine treasures left by the ancient sage without taking any risks? Don't you feel ashamed? He Tian said disdainfully. None of these people could be relied on. Even Long Bideo was unreliable. Long Bideo just wanted to use everyone to break the formation. The divine treasures left by the ancient sage were everyone's goal. He Tian ignored them and began to deduce the formation. He was a formation master, but the level of this formation was too high. Even he might not be able to break it. Gu Fei, on the other hand, found a large rock nearby and sat cross-legged on it. He closed his eyes and rested. On the other hand, Gu Zhong, Old Jiao, and Zhong Liming were whispering to each other. Do you think these people will retreat in the face of difficulties? Zhong Liming looked at those people curiously. Among these 11 experts, she could recognize most of them. The Zhongli clan's information network was rather well informed. That's hard to say, Gu Zhong said. I don't think any of them will retreat. Elder Jiao pondered for a moment before saying these words. He had cultivated for tens of thousands of years and had experienced many things. Even his eyelashes were empty. It wasn't easy for them to reach this place. Even though they were obstructed by the Grand Array, making it difficult for them to enter the ancient sage's paradise deep within the mountain range, they would definitely not retreat just like that. While He Tian was deducing the formation, Long Bideo also took action. He took out a map and carefully looked at it, carefully examining every minute change on the map. Sure enough, Old Flood Dragon's words were right. None of these people left. They were all waiting. No one dared to act rashly because of the mighty and terrifying aura in front of them. It wasn't easy for them to cultivate, so no one was willing to take the risk. No one said a word. Array patterns kept surging out from He Tian's body and circled around him. At this time, his mind was already immersed in his array world. A large array was constantly evolving in the array world within his body. At this time, the grand array in front of them gradually stopped. The huge phantom standing above the mountains also gradually dissipated and became invisible. That terrifying sage aura also disappeared, as if it had never appeared before. An hour passed. Haitian still did not move. His eyes were constantly flashing with yin-yang divine light, and the formation runes were faintly discernible in the depths of his eyes. He used his yin-yang divine eyes to see through all illusions. In the void on the ground, invisible formation runes were constantly imprinted in his eyes, and then constantly evolving in his inner world. A grand array of the Sage King level was extraordinary. It was enough to trap a sage. No one dared to be careless. Even Long Bideo had to carefully examine the map in his hand. In order to break through such a grand array, there was no room for mistakes. In the grand array, one wrong step could lead to the death of both body and soul. Time passed, and in the blink of an eye, for hours had passed. Long Bideo put away the map in his hand and then moved his hands in front of him. A divine light rushed out from his hands and formed a light screen. Everyone, look carefully. This is a corner of the grand array. Along this route, we can avoid all kinds of dangers and reach the depths of the grand array. Long Bideo said. The light screen in front of him showed a map. This was a corner of the formation map. On the formation map, there was a route marked. This route. Everyone's heart trembled. According to the route shown on the corner of the formation map, it seemed that they could really safely pass through the grand array in front of them and enter inside. Since it was a matter of life and death, no one dared to be careless. Everyone imprinted the corner of the formation map on the light screen into their minds. All right. Seeing that everyone had memorized the fragment of the map, the light screen in front of Long Bideo disappeared in the void and turned into specks of light that entered his body. If you're not afraid of death, follow me. Long Bideo strode forward after he finished speaking. He entered the array according to the location indicated on the map, but there was no response from the array. We can really go in. Everyone was surprised and happy. Since Long Bideo was not afraid of death, they would also go all out. After all, there was an ancient sage's divine treasure in the grotto heaven. For the ancient sage's divine treasure, it was worth the risk. Brother Gu! Long Bideo's voice rang in Gu Fei's mind, but Gu Fei did not move. He still sat cross-legged on the big stone. He did not intend to enter the grand array with Long Bideo and the others. Gu Fei did not move. Gu Zhong and Old Jiao naturally did not follow Long Bideo and the others into the grand array. Zhong Limin could not help but feel anxious. Everyone had entered, but Gu Fei had no intention of entering the grand array. Should he chase after Long Bideo and the others? What surprised Zhong Limin was that Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman also did not enter the grand array. They seemed to be waiting. At this time, Haitian's aura became stronger and a saint's aura spread out from his body. This saint's aura seemed to be the same as the saint's aura that appeared earlier. Uncle Master He succeeded. Chapter 1834. Gu Fei and the others were well aware of Haitian's attainments and formations. Although this guy was usually frivolous, he was not muddle-headed when it came to major matters. He really created this grand formation. Gu Fei, who was sitting cross-legged on the boulder, stood up. Haitian's world of formations could create all kinds of formations. This was a great technique that Haitian had cultivated. Rumble. The sage aura that emanated from Haitian's body became stronger and stronger. A faint shadow appeared on his body. That shadow was the same shadow that appeared when the formation was activated. He really succeeded. The mysterious woman's eyes sparkled. Haitian's attainments and formations were simply heaven-defying. One must know that that was a killing formation set up by a king of sages. It was too shocking that he managed to create a killing formation set up by a king of sages in just 4 hours. At this moment, the sage aura on Haitian's body suddenly receded like the tide. The shadow on his body also dissipated into the void. The yin-yang Taoist rhymes that emanated from his eyes gradually disappeared into the depths of his eyes. Phew! Haitian let out a long breath and stood up from the ground. Uncle Master He! Old Jiao was extremely shocked. It was only at this moment that he realized that his Uncle Master He was really unfathomable. The title of Formation Grandmaster was not just for show. You are very strong. Even Chiu Wuqing, who had not spoken all this while, could not help but be moved at this moment. This person called He Tian was like Gu Fei. He was a freak. Chiu Wuqing knew that he had really underestimated the people in the world previously. He had defeated everyone in the God-fallen ocean and was almost invincible. However, he had just walked out of the God-fallen ocean when he encountered an opponent like Gu Fei. He and Gu Fei were not enemies. They were just opponents. It is not so easy to create a killing formation set up by a king of sages, He Tian said. He was a bit tired. Developing a great formation wasn't an easy task. It required a large amount of energy to continuously deduce it. For a sage ruler array like this, even if it was deduced thousands or tens of thousands of times, it would probably be difficult to truly evolve this array. Even He Tian could not do it. In the past 4 hours, he had only deduced a few thousand times, and he had only gotten a rough idea. He had not completely deduced the various changes of the formation. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Even though I can't really deduce the various realities of this great formation, I think I can still pass through this great formation and enter the Grotto Heaven, He Tian said. Black Martial Uncle, you're amazing. Gu Zhong gave He Tian a thumbs up. He Tian deduced a path of survival, and this path of survival was very different from the path of survival that Long Bideo had taken. However, the path of survival that He Tian deduced overlapped with the path of survival that Long Bideo had taken in some aspects. Let's go. After He Tian deduced it again, he walked forward. Every time he took a step, a formation pattern surged out from under his feet and spread forward. Step on the formation pattern and you will be safe. He Tian said such words. Everyone realized that the formation pattern that spread out from under He Tian's feet was still condensed after he walked, like a path formed by the formation pattern. In this way, He Tian opened the path in front, while Gu Fei and the others followed behind He Tian and walked into the great formation in front. This great formation was not ordinary. When looking from outside the formation, one could not see anything, but once inside the formation, the entire world changed. Inside the great formation was another world. Here, the sun and moon were dim, and the surroundings were dusky. Even those who cultivated the divine eyes could not see very far. This formation can create a world. I thought it was just a legend, but it actually exists. Zhong Limeng was extremely shocked. This slaughtering formation was too terrifying. It formed a world of its own, and one could only feel the terror of this slaughtering formation after entering it. Whoosh! Rumble! Dazzling lightning flashed above everyone's head from time to time. Powerful destructive power was released and wreaked havoc. Even a half-step saint would perish if he was hit by the power of the lightning. Gu Fei and the others felt the danger, but He Tian's attainments and formations were really heaven-defying. Even though he could not completely create this slaughtering formation, the path of survival that he deduced was undoubtedly very safe. Along the way, they did not encounter any real danger. Very quickly, they were 100 miles away, but they still did not see Long Ba Dao and the others. Could it be that they really entered the Saint Wonderland? Gradually, He Tian's speed slowed down. What's going on? He Tian muttered to himself. His expression was incomparably solemn. He felt that something was wrong, and this made him very uneasy. What's wrong? Gu Fei asked. They were already 100 miles away from the slaughtering formation, but they still could not get out. And at this time, He Tian actually made a new discovery. He Tian did not reply to Gu Fei. He stopped and started to calculate again. Very quickly, his expression changed, and only after a while did he regain his composure. This slaughtering formation is actually constantly changing, He Tian said. The slaughtering formation was changing, and the things that he deduced before seemed to be wrong. The formation was changing, and the original place of survival would also become a place of death. Long Ba Dao and the others are in trouble, the mysterious woman said. Long Ba Dao was walking according to the map in his hand. However, this formation was not dead, it was alive and could constantly change. What should we do? Zhong Li Meng's expression changed. If the formation was changing, then they were in trouble as well. There was no way forward, and there was no way back. They were in danger of being trapped inside. No need to panic, Gu Fei said. Even if they were trapped inside, he could ensure Zhong Li Meng's safety. Remember that he still needed Zhong Li Meng to lead him to the Shangqing sect. Up until now, it seemed like only Zhong Li Meng knew where the Shangqing sect was. Hearing Gu Fei's words and remembering Gu Fei's powerfulness, Zhong Li Meng finally calmed down. Staying next to Gu Fei was definitely safe. At this time, countless Dao patterns appeared on He Tian's body. They intertwined around him and continued to disappear. He was calculating and evolving. Their speed slowed down. Just as Mai Tian was analyzing the killing formation, an extremely powerful aura suddenly erupted from the area in front of them. Then, the entire formation was activated and began to move. Long Ba Dao and those idiots. Without question, this commotion was definitely caused by Long Ba Dao and the others, causing the slaughtering formation to move. An astonishing amount of qi appeared between heaven and earth. Damn it! Chapter 1835. Those bastards! Gu Zhong was both shocked and angry. The Matrix had been triggered. Needless to say, it must have been the work of Long Badeo and the others. They had been implicated as well. Rumble! The Sage Ruler Matrix was activated. Terrifying bolts of lightning suddenly appeared in the sky, then fell from the sky, sweeping towards Gu Fei and the others. The destructive aura filled every inch of the void. Boss, it's all up to you now! He Tian shouted hurriedly. Even if a half-saint was hit by the power of a matrix of this level, there would only be one outcome, and that was the destruction of both his body and soul. Buzz! Gu Fei made his move. He had to make a move. At this time, the place where they were standing was considered safe, but the sky above them was not. The destructive bolts of lightning, as thick as mountains, fell from the sky, enough to sweep away everything. No wonder the great ancestor of the extraterrestrial divine mountain was also seriously injured, and the scar on his great path could not be healed. If one looked carefully, one could see that within the huge bolts of lightning, there were actually Sage Ruler level celestial patterns of the great path. It was extremely terrifying. A huge cauldron emerged from Gu Fei's body, enveloping everyone in it. An ancient and vicissitude aura that seemed to come from ancient times appeared between heaven and earth. This is... Everyone was shocked. This was not the real ancient cauldron, but an illusion. However, the aura it exuded was extremely shocking. Even though it was just an illusion, it seemed to be able to shock the 10 paths of the heavens. Could this be the legendary mountain and river cauldron? The mysterious woman's eyes shone brightly. She stared at the illusion of the ancient cauldron, carefully examining the ancient and mysterious patterns on it. It really is the mountain and river cauldron. At this time, Qiu Wuqing was also shocked. He came from the fallen divine ocean, a forbidden land for life. This lineage was very mysterious, and its history could be traced back to the mythological era. Such an ancient and mysterious force naturally knew many secrets of the world. Boom! The destructive bolts of lightning that fell from the sky bombarded the illusion of the ancient cauldron. Everyone felt a great sense of danger, especially Zhong Limeng, who had already turned pale with fright. In the face of the power of the Sage Ruler Matrix, they were as weak as ants. Roar! Right at this moment, a shrill cry resounded from ahead. It seemed like someone had suffered a calamity. Even a half-saint would be annihilated in body and soul under this level of lightning attack. Buzz! The void trembled. The shadow of the ancient cauldron had successfully blocked the destructive lightning that swept down from the sky. On the shadow of the ancient cauldron, ancient Dao patterns appeared. Although the ancient cauldron had blocked the destructive lightning, everyone was still shaken to the point that their blood was in turmoil. Zhong Li Meng's cultivation was the weakest, and a trickle of blood seeped out of the corner of her mouth. Black Marshal Uncle, hurry up and break the formation! Guzhong shouted. Boom! At this moment, a clap of thunder sounded above everyone's heads. Then, another bolt of lightning struck down from the sky. The powerful destructive force caused the cauldron of mountain and river to shake. Preposterous! Tian tried his best to deduce the Sage King array. Soon, he found another path of survival. The array patterns beneath his feet extended forward, and a great Tao formed by the interweaving array patterns extended into the depths of the array. Let's go! Everyone followed Tian and charged forward. Rumble! The heavens and earth shook as the array began to operate. The destructive force spread in all directions, as if it was going to turn the world into chaos again. At this moment, there were still bolts of destructive lightning flashing above everyone's heads. It was as if something in the unseen world had its eyes on them. This great formation is already so powerful without anyone managing it. If someone were to take control of this great formation, it would be a disaster. Tian muttered to himself. The Sage King array was different from ordinary arrays. This kind of array might have already developed intelligence, and could operate on its own. Fortunately, we have you, a formation grandmaster. Otherwise, we might all die here, Zhong Limeng said with lingering fear. Formation grandmasters were highly valued by the major forces in any era. This was because the path of formation was too difficult. It took a lot of time and energy to cultivate. The price needed to cultivate a formation grandmaster was also very high, and one had to take a lot of risks. One must know that not everyone could become a formation grandmaster. With Boss Gu here, we can still retreat in the worst-case scenario, Tian said. Gu Fei had the mountain and river cauldron with him. As long as he took out this extreme divine weapon, even if it was not activated, he could still save everyone's lives. Brother Gu, is this ancient cauldron really the legendary mountain and river cauldron? The mysterious woman couldn't help but ask. The mountain and river cauldron was an extreme divine weapon. Even a supreme would be jealous of it. Gu Fei didn't say anything, nor did he nod. Agreed. Qiu Wuqing, who was usually a man of few words, also wanted to know if this ancient cauldron was the mountain and river cauldron. The mountain and river cauldron had already appeared in the mythological era. Its origin was mysterious. It could be a supreme divine weapon passed down from the most ancient era before the mythological era. The extreme divine weapon was an immortal weapon. It could be passed down. Of course, the extreme divine weapon was a weapon refined by a supreme. A supreme had the ability to destroy such a weapon. If there was a battle between supreme, the extreme divine weapon could also be destroyed. This was not the time to talk in detail. The surroundings were still full of danger. If they were not careful, they could be trapped in this killing array. Tian was constantly deducing. The array was changing all the time. It was a path of survival one moment, but it could turn into a dead end the next moment. The ground was shaking, and everyone felt as if they were walking on waves that were constantly rising and falling. Everything around them was gray and hazy, and from time to time, lightning would illuminate the dark world. Everyone felt an extremely oppressive aura. After walking for more than 10 miles, the destructive power between the heaven and earth became stronger and more terrifying. It was as if the world was really going to be destroyed. Gu Fei activated the power of the mountain and river cauldron to protect everyone. What is that? At this moment, Tian suddenly stopped. Then, a faint smell of blood drifted over. There seemed to be a burning smell mixed in with the smell of blood. Beside the path formed by the array patterns, there was a pile of red and black things. What is that? It seems like a pile of minced meat. Could it be that the scream just now? Chapter 1836. A powerful sage to be died here. He was blasted into a pile of minced meat. Seeing this scene, everyone was moved. This person should be one of the 12 sage to be invited by Long Bideo. This was in existence at the level of a hero, but he had died in this place. This person is really unlucky, Tian said. There were no other corpses around. It seemed that only one person from Long Badeo's group had died. Where did the others go? Everyone realized that there were many fragments of divine weapons in this pile of minced meat. This person had tried to fight against the power of the sage-to-be formation when he was in danger. However, it was very clear that the person could not resist at all under the bombardment of the Saint Ruler formation's power. He was killed there. Everyone continued forward. They realized that Long Badeo and the others had entered the depths of the formation along this path. No wonder Long Badeo and the others were able to escape. Is there a formation grandmaster among them? Old Jiao voiced out his doubts. The reason they could continue forward was because of the existence of He Tian, the formation grandmaster. The formation was constantly changing. Only those who were proficient in formations, and at the level of a formation grandmaster, could barely walk in this formation. Of course, even so, it was still very dangerous. If it were not for Gu Fei, even He Tian would have died in this formation, let alone walking in it. During the process of He Tian's deduction, there were destructive lightning strikes from time to time. If it were not for the protection of the mountain and river cauldron, he would have died many times. A sage-to-be formation was not that easy to break through. Under the protection of the mountain and river cauldron, everyone continued forward. Although they encountered powerful attacks from the formation several times, they were all daunting but not dangerous. Soon, a huge mountain appeared in front of everyone. The sky in front of them suddenly became clear, no longer gloomy. A vast and boundless aura rushed over, causing one's spirit to be shaken. This is a piece of deity ground. The scenery around the mountain in front of them was like a fairyland. There were waterfalls, flowing springs, and white clouds. At the foot of the mountain, there was a small bridge and flowing water. The red walls and roof tiles were faintly discernible under the shade of the weeping willows. He had the air of an immortal. There's still a dozen or so miles before we're out of here. Black Martial Uncle put in more effort. Gu Zhong, the old dragon, and the others couldn't help feeling nervous. They were about to enter the immortal's world in front of them. Without a doubt, it was the immortal's world in front of them. Roar! At this moment, a roar suddenly came from the mountain. A strange beast jumped out of the mountain, its powerful aura startling the birds in the forest. What is that? Everyone was startled. That strange beast disappeared into the mountains in a flash, disappearing without a trace. Long Badeo and the others beat us to it. The mysterious woman frowned. Clearly, Long Badeo and the others had already entered the immortal world. Long Badeo had the map, so he had an advantage over everyone else. Open it. He Tian used all his strength. Countless formation runes interweaved in his eyes. He was trying his best to deduce the formation in front of him. The power of a formation grandmaster erupted at this time. Countless formation runes rushed out from He Tian's body and imprinted in all directions. The formation runes drew the power of heaven and earth, and there were signs of changing the surrounding void. At this moment, He Tian was like a formation great sage. All the killing formations were under his control. Rumble. The power of the Sage King formation surged towards He Tian from all directions. At this time, a divine path appeared in front of He Tian. Let's go. The divine path extended under everyone's feet and was then guided out by the divine path. In just a moment, Gu Fei and the others crossed a dozen miles and stepped into the immortal's world. You guys are here too. Just as Gu Fei and the others stepped into the immortal world, a person suddenly walked out of the forest. It was a Taoist with a black beard. It's Brother Hong. The mysterious woman recognized the Taoist as soon as she saw him. He was one of the 12 experts invited by Long Badeo. His name was Hong Tong. Why are you here? The formation power on He Tian's body had not completely retreated. At this time, his black hair moved without any wind and his eyes were as sharp as lightning. A powerful aura spread out from He Tian's body. The formation grandmaster really lives up to his name. Hong Tong and the others looked at He Tian and were secretly surprised. No wonder these people could enter this world without following Long Badeo. The role of a formation grandmaster was irreplaceable in this place. Just thinking about it makes me angry. That long Bideo actually shook us all off. Hong Tong told them about his previous experience. Long Bideo really had bad intentions. After entering this immortal's world, he actually got rid of everyone and went into the depths of this immortal's world alone. Moreover, this place is not peaceful. There are incomparably powerful fierce beasts roaming around here. Some people have already died under the claws of these fierce beasts. Hong Tong's people said such words. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard this. The fierce beasts here were actually so powerful that they could kill a half-step saint. They did not believe it. If these fierce beasts could kill a half-step saint, then these fierce beasts must at least be half-step saint-level fierce beasts. These fierce beasts are ancient and incomparably powerful, Hong Tong said. Ancient and strange beasts? Could they be the fierce beasts raised by the ancient sage? This was an immortal's grotto. There was only one reason why fierce beasts could appear here, and that was because the ancient sage raised many fierce beasts. After the ancient sage fell, this place became the territory of these fierce beasts. Roar. At this moment, another beast's roar rang out from within the mountain. Then, everyone heard a series of shouts coming from within the mountain. Boom. The aura of a sage lingered and the power of a half-step saint was exploding. Someone has encountered a fierce beast. Everyone was shocked, especially Joan Li Meng. Her cultivation was not high enough. If she encountered a half-step saint-level fierce beast, she would only end up as its food. Swoosh. Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious lady suddenly disappeared. Both of them had already rushed out. Gu Fei and the others were not in a hurry. They walked towards the direction of the fluctuation. Hong Tong also rushed out, but his cultivation and strength seemed to be a little weaker than Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious lady. Stay by my side, and I can guarantee your safety. Chapter 1837. The immortal world was filled with spiritual qi. There were auspicious beasts walking in the mountains and celestial birds flying in the sky. From time to time, rainbows could be seen in the sky. As expected of the sage's paradise, everyone couldn't help but praise. The concentration of spiritual qi here was definitely 10 times or even dozens of times that of the outside world. There were even strong life essence rising in some places. This paradise was definitely not inferior to the ancestral lands of some ancient desolate lands. It would be great if I could take this paradise away, He Tian muttered to himself. It should be known that this was a paradise left behind by an ancient sage. It was very likely to be an inner world refined by that sage. It's not difficult to refine this paradise, Gu Fei said. I know, but the problem is that it's definitely not that easy to obtain. After hearing Gu Fei's words, He Tian's eyes immediately lit up. However, the light in his eyes immediately dimmed. It was not an easy task to refine a paradise left behind by an ancient sage. Don't forget that Long Bideo has also entered this world. At this moment, the mysterious woman in black suddenly said, Long Bideo. Hearing this name, Hong Tong and the others were a little excited. This Long Bideo only wanted to use their strength to break through the terrifying Sage King killing formation. Now that Long Bideo had entered this world, the others were no longer of any use to him. Thus, he abandoned everyone after crossing the river. Long Bideo had the map of the extraterrestrial Divine Mountain's old ancestor. Here, he had an advantage over everyone else. Everyone rushed towards the direction of the beast roar. There was a gap between Hong Tong and Qiu Wuqing's cultivation, so they couldn't catch up at all. However, the mysterious woman suddenly slowed down and walked together with Gu Fei and the others. Humph, that kid doesn't look like a good person to me, He Tian said disdainfully. He didn't know why, but when he first saw Long Bideo, he was very unhappy. This was just his intuition. Evil creature. At this moment, an angry roar came from a valley in front of them. Everyone had already arrived at the foot of the mountain. Boom! An enormous figure flew out from the valley. Someone displayed a great technique, blasting a strange beast flying. Powerful immortal Tao power surged. Roar! The strange beast roared, and rays of blood-red light shot out from its huge body. An incomparably ferocious aura spread in all directions. Bang! The exotic beast slammed into a hillside, causing it to explode. Dust rose high into the sky, filling the air with smoke and dust. What is that? Everyone was startled. That strange beast was very powerful. It was definitely a half-step saint-level ominous beast. Moreover, its body was bursting with monstrous qi and blood. This qi and blood was too vigorous. It was even more vigorous than the qi and blood of a dragon. Could it be one of those ancient beasts? He Tian was shocked. He seemed to have figured out the origin of the beast that was sent flying. Its brother Fan Lai. At this moment, a figure shrouded in golden divine flames walked out from the valley. It was a middle-aged man. The divine flame on his body was the golden crow divine flame. Fan Lai had an extremely faint bloodline of the golden crow within his body. This was the life god flame that he cultivated. It was extremely powerful. If an ordinary half-step saint were to be burned by this god flame, even if they didn't die, their vitality would be greatly damaged. Is that Brother Hong? The middle-aged man who looked like a god of fire heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Hong Tong. However, he did not dare to be careless, because he knew how powerful that strange beast was. Roar! Indeed, a beastly roar rang out, causing the entire world to tremble. Boundless blood-red light burst out from the ground. The strange beast that was buried in the ground rushed out. Indeed, it's one of those extinct ancient beasts, He Tian said in shock. Ox head, Qilin body. Could it be a scarlet blood beast? The mysterious woman exclaimed. This is no ordinary scarlet blood beast. It's a beast emperor, Gu Fei said. Scarlet blood beast emperor. Everyone was shocked. This kind of savage beast was a fierce beast that fed on blood in ancient times. Even the slightest smell of blood was enough to make it go crazy. It was precisely because of this that this kind of ferocious beast had been completely exterminated in ancient times. No one had thought that they would encounter a crimson blood beast emperor in this immortal world. Moreover, this crimson blood beast emperor had clearly seen blood before. Roar! The scarlet blood beast emperor roared. 2 blood-red lights shot out from its eyes. This was a sign that it had fallen into a state of madness. This evil beast killed Taoist Yuchuan. I'm going to tear him to pieces! Fan Lai roared and charged forward. His entire body was covered in flames, causing the void to collapse and be annihilated. This was the terrifying power of a half-step saint. What? Taoist Yuchuan is dead? Hong Tong's heart trembled. Taoist Yuchuan was an expert of the archaic Tao sect. His divine techniques had long been cultivated to the 5th layer of half-step saint realm. How could such a powerful half-step saint be killed by the scarlet blood beast emperor? It was no wonder that Fan Lai was so furious. He and Taoist Yuchuan were best friends. Since Taoist Yuchuan was killed by this beast, it would be strange if he didn't fight it to the death. The battle erupted. The scarlet blood beast emperor, who had fallen into a state of madness, was really powerful. His blood and qi rose and turned into rays of divine light that constantly attacked Fan Lai. The most terrifying thing was that the blood and qi that erupted from the scarlet blood beast emperor could devour the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Wherever the scarlet blood beast emperor passed, all the flowers and trees lost their vitality. Their life essence was completely devoured. Even the essence of the sun in Fan Lai's body was sucked away bit by bit. The scarlet blood beast emperor grew stronger as it fought, but Fan Lai grew weaker. The situation was very disadvantageous for Fan Lai. If he couldn't kill this beast, he would be exhausted to death. Reality was cruel. It was either you die or I die. There were many people present who could kill the scarlet blood beast emperor. At least, Gu Fei had this ability. Xiao Wuqing also had this ability. Even the mysterious woman could kill this beast. However, Gu Fei had no intention of making a move. Xiao Wuqing stood on a big rock and looked at everything coldly. If it didn't concern him, he wouldn't make a move. The halberd in his hand wouldn't be stained with blood so easily. The mysterious woman in black held the divine bow in her hand and didn't show any signs of making a move. Kill! A ray of saber light soared into the sky. At this moment, Hong Tong made his move. The sharp saber light cut through the void and turned into a ray of divine light, directly killing the beast in the blood light. Hong Tong had some friendship with Fan Lai and Taoist Yuchuan. Seeing that Fan Lai was in trouble, he had to make a move. Saber. Everyone was very surprised. They didn't expect Hong Tong's divine weapon to be a divine saber. In the world of cultivation, very few people would refine a divine saber as their defensive divine weapon. This was because there were very few people who practiced the saber, unlike sword cultivators who walked the path of dominance with the saber. As soon as Hong Tong made his move, a domineering aura spread out from his body. Buzz! The resplendent saber light directly broke through the layers of blood light and fiercely slashed the neck of the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor. Hong Tong wanted to chop off the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor's head. However, a shocking scene occurred. When Hong Tong's tyrannical saber slashed the neck of the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor, the saber light actually rebounded as if it had slashed a piece of immortal divine steel. What? Hong Tong and the others were extremely shocked. This beast's physical body is actually so strong. Even Gu Fei was a little surprised to see this scene. It should be known that although Hong Tong's cultivation was not very high, the divine saber he refined was at least a half-sage divine saber. Could it be that this exotic beast's physical body was even stronger than the half-sage divine saber? This is the terror of the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor. In its berserk state, this exotic beast's physical body will be 10 times stronger than usual. Perhaps even a half-sage divine weapon would not be able to break through the defense of the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor. Kill! Although shocked by the strength of the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor's physical body, Hong Tong and the others still rushed forward and joined forces with Fan Lai to fight the beast. With the help of Hong Tong and the others, the Scarlet Blood Beast Emperor seemed to have become even more berserk. Bang! Suddenly, a muffled sound rang out from the depths of this immortal world. Then, the entire world shook violently. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. Could it be? He Tian suddenly thought of something. His expression became somewhat ugly. It seemed that someone was really plotting against this world. Long Badeo. Gu Fei muttered to himself. This person was very shrewd, and his schemes were also very big. Even Gu Fei had been used by this guy. This guy was really bold. At this time, above the mountain peak, there was an ancient city floating high in the sky. The ancient city was surrounded by white clouds, making it difficult for the people on the ground to see the ancient city. In front of the ancient city stood a person. This person was using a great technique to hit the closed city gate. This person was Long Badeo. In front of the ancient city gate, there were a few stone statues. These stone statues were destroyed by Long Badeo. These were the stone soldiers left behind by the ancient sages. Although these stone soldiers were very strong, they were not Long Badeo's match. Long Badeo had a forbidden weapon on him. This time, he was prepared to enter the ancient sage's grotto heaven. Sky-breaking hammer, go! Long Badeo used a great technique. He controlled the divine hammer and smashed it towards the city gate. Boom! With a loud bang, the divine hammer smashed onto the city gate. The void shook, but the tightly shut city gate didn't budge an inch. It's here again. Chapter 1838. Boom! The heavens and earth shook. A dull sound reverberated in this part of the world, shaking everyone's mind. It was as if a supreme existence was using a supreme divine ability to shake the entire world. What's going on? Is someone trying to take away this world? Everyone was bewildered. At this moment, Fan Lai and Taoist Hong Tong were still fighting with the Crimson Blood Beast Emperor. It had to be said that the Crimson Blood Beast Emperor that was in a berserk state was really strong. It was so strong that it was abnormal. Even if the two great half-saints joined forces, they still couldn't gain any advantage. It was difficult for them to truly suppress this ancient beast. Boom! There was another violent tremor. This time, even the essence of the world was attracted. The spiritual energy in this immortal's grotto heaven began to become unstable. Where did the sound come from? Everyone was incomparably shocked. Without a doubt, someone had definitely found the location of the source of heaven and earth. Moreover, that person was attacking the source of heaven and earth. There should be a source of heaven and earth in this immortal grotto heaven. Only a heaven and earth with source of heaven and earth could exist, and not collapse. Once someone obtained this source of heaven and earth and refined it, this immortal grotto heaven would be taken away by that person. Let's go. The mysterious black-robed lady directly rushed towards the depths of this heaven and earth. If someone else obtained the source of heaven and earth, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chiao Wuqing's figure also disappeared. Boss! Seeing that Gu Fei was still calm and unhurried, He Tian couldn't help but feel a little anxious. One must know that this was a heaven and earth that was refined by an ancient immortal grotto heaven. This immortal grotto heaven was much better than the immortal grotto heaven that Gu Fei had obtained previously. Of course, there were a few divine springs of life in the immortal grotto heaven. Even the immortal grotto heaven that was refined by an ancient immortal grotto heaven didn't have such a heaven-defying thing. The conditions for the divine spring of life to appear were too harsh. This was a divine spring that was formed from the life that was derived from the endless death. The divine spring seized the fortune of heaven and earth, and the spring of life was incomparably precious. It could nourish the inner world, allowing it to transform into a perfect world. After all, He Tian's array formation world wasn't a true inner world. He really wanted to obtain this world left behind by the ancient sages. However, someone had already beaten him to it. Master! Gu Zhong and old Jiao were also very anxious. They knew very well that once the other party obtained the source of heaven and earth, they would become meat on the chopping block. They would be at the mercy of others. If an ordinary half-sage came, they would only end up being killed by the stoneman puppets. Boom! Gu Fei's fist force collided with the power of the stoneman puppets. The powerful waves that spread out almost destroyed the surrounding void. However, this was an important area of the immortal world after all. The surrounding void was extremely stable. Even Gu Fei could not truly tear the void in this area. Gu Fei's combat strength was unparalleled. He successfully blocked the three stoneman puppets. Gu Zhong, old Jiao, Zhong Limeng and the others hurriedly retreated into the distance. Only He Tian remained. Kill! He Tian roared. Countless formation runes rushed out from his body. At this moment, he and the formation became one. The cultivation and strength of a half-sage were completely displayed. A sage aura rushed out from He Tian's body, shaking the heavens and the earth. Half-saint had the word saint attached to it. Although it could not be compared to a real sage, it already had a trace of the aura of a sage. Boom! A killing formation rushed out from He Tian's body, enveloping the three stoneman puppets that Gu Fei had blocked. Endless destructive divine light pierced through the three stoneman puppets in the formation. He Tian worked very hard this time. He used his full strength right from the start. This guy. Chapter 1839. Boom! The bodies of the three stone golems shone with an infinite amount of divine light. They pierced through Mai Tian's killing array and rushed towards Mai Tian. They were extremely powerful. Formation in the void, heaven and earth in one thought. He Tian's voice resounded in the killing array. Then, the space engulfed by the killing array began to evolve into a heaven and earth. Clear chi rose, turbid chi sank, and the power of yin and yang surged. It was as if there was really a heaven and earth evolving in the killing array. The three stone golems were teleported into the evolving cosmos. The terrifying yin and yang energy obliterated the three stone golems, wanting to completely annihilate them. He Tian is really going crazy. Gu Fei had no choice but to retreat and let He Tian do what he wanted. The power of the killing array was earth-shattering. He was borrowing the power of the evolving heaven and earth to kill his opponents. This was no different from trapping the three golems in the power of creation. The power of splitting open the sky was extremely powerful. Even though the three stone golems were infinitely close to the power of the sacred realm, they still suffered a great impact. Cracks appeared on their bodies, and the Tao patterns on them dimmed. However, the three golems were golems refined by the Saint King after all. The ancient Saint King bestowed a part of his divine abilities and techniques. Rumble! The three stone golems seemed to have awakened their spiritual intelligence. They actually joined forces to unleash a powerful attack. This attack directly pierced through Erebus' killing array, creating a gap in the killing array. What? He Tian was shocked. He realized that he had underestimated the power of the three golems. The ancient Saint King was indeed not comparable to ordinary saints. The three golems broke through He Tian's killing array and rushed out. Bang! At that moment, the first golem that had charged out of the killing array suddenly exploded. A figure appeared outside the opening of the array and punched the golem that had charged out first, causing it to explode into pieces. This, Gu Zhong and the others were shocked. Although they knew that their master was powerful, they didn't expect him to be this powerful. Even He Tian couldn't destroy the golem with his full strength, but Gu Fei had destroyed one with a single punch. This result was really shocking. At this moment, the two golems at the back joined forces and directly charged towards Gu Fei. The powerful immortal Tao power shook the heavens and earth, powerful to the extreme. Roar! Gu Fei let out a furious roar, causing the entire world to tremble. His long hair fluttered behind him as a domineering aura rushed out from his body. Instead of dodging, he took a step forward and punched out with his right fist. Instantly, his fist was filled with primal Tao patterns, and his chaotic true energy surged. Boom! Gu Fei's right fist fiercely collided with the two golems' fists. A single fist blocked two fists, and the powerful force directly shattered the two golems' fists. The two golems were directly smashed into the killing array by Gu Fei. Rumble! At this moment, the power of Genesis rushed towards the two golems from all directions. These two golems only struggled for a moment in He Tian's killing array before they were shattered into millions of pieces and turned into dust by the power of Genesis. After the three golems were destroyed, He Tian didn't remove the killing array. He directly became one with the array and rushed up into the sky. A huge hole was instantly torn open in the thick layer of clouds. An ancient city floated above the layer of clouds, emitting an ancient aura. This was the divine city left behind by a Saint King. When everyone saw the ancient city, they couldn't help but be surprised and delighted. As expected, the item left behind by the Saint King was in the sky. They didn't know what was in the depths of this world, but after those people entered, they seemed to have encountered a powerful existence and were engaged in an endless battle. Inside the ancient city refined by the Saint King, there was definitely a divine treasury left behind by the Saint King. He Tian soared into the sky and rushed towards the ancient city. However, at this moment, a lump of black chi flew out from the ancient city and instantly enveloped the heaven and earth, descending towards He Tian. What? He Tian was shocked. He sensed an extremely powerful energy. The energy contained in this lump of black chi was extraordinary, and it seemed to be an evil energy. What is this? Gu Fei was also shocked. He could sense the power of this energy. One thought, heaven and earth. He Tian shouted and directly displayed the strongest power of the killing array. The killing array revolved, and countless formation runes blossomed with the most resplendent divine light. The center of the killing array produced a heaven-devouring power, wanting to devour the black chi descending from the sky. However, when the black chi was really devoured by the killing array, a shocking scene occurred. The formation runes of the killing array laid down by He Tian gradually dimmed. The black chi contained a terrifying corrosive power, and it could actually corrode He Tian's formation runes. This caused He Tian to be incomparably shocked. One must know that the killing array he laid down, the formation runes were branded in the void, and they were almost indestructible. Could it be that thing? He Tian seemed to have thought of something. He didn't dare to use the power of the killing array to devour the black chi descending from the sky. He controlled the killing array and quickly retreated. Boss, it's up to you now. I'm going to use the mountain and river cauldron. Tian retreated. He had no way of breaking through the black chi. One must know that it wasn't an ordinary item. The chances of such an item appearing were really too low. In the history of cultivation, it had only appeared a few times. How could such a thing appear here? Gu Fei was incomparably shocked. This black chi had a great origin, and it was the evilest thing in the world. As long as one came into contact with it, even a saint's vitality would be greatly injured. It's that bastard Long Bideo, I'm going to kill him! Tian sensed Long Bideo's aura. This Long Bideo was truly amazing, to actually obtain such an evil thing. Could it be that he wanted to kill everyone in one fell swoop? Master, what is this thing? Gu Zhong asked. The speed at which the black chi descended wasn't fast, but it covered the entire sky. Everywhere the black chi passed, everything was annihilated, even the spiritual chi of heaven and earth was destroyed. If I'm not wrong, this black chi is a type of corpse chi. Gu Fei wasn't in a hurry to act. Corpse chi? How is this possible? What kind of corpse chi can threaten Master He? Gu Zhong was shocked when he heard this. This black chi was actually corpse chi. This was truly unexpected. Moreover, this corpse chi was so terrifying that it seemed to be able to destroy everything. Humph, this isn't an ordinary corpse chi. This is something that is formed after a saint's corpse has been rotting for countless years, Tian said. Saint's corpse chi. Chapter 1840. The black chi was like a cloud, covering the sky and sinking downwards. Everywhere it passed, the void was annihilated and everything was devoured, leaving nothing behind. After a saint's death, their corpses would rot and turn into extremely poisonous corpse chi. This corpse chi was extremely terrifying. Even a saint would be in big trouble if he were to come in contact with it. Gu Fei and the others were not saints. If they breathed in a bit of this corpse chi, they would be destroyed. Buzz! The shadow of a giant cauldron rushed out of Gu Fei's body and enveloped everyone inside. Gu Fei used the power of the cauldron of mountain and river to protect everyone. Boss, hurry up, if we let this corpse chi spread, I'm afraid this world will be finished. Tian's heart ached. This corpse chi was devouring the spiritual chi in this world. The spiritual chi in this world was decreasing rapidly. Gu Fei was not in a hurry. He flipped his right hand and an ancient cauldron the size of a fist appeared in his hand. An extremely ancient and vicissitude aura spread from the ancient cauldron. This is the cauldron of mountain and river. Zhong Li Ming was in disbelief because the ancient cauldron in Gu Fei's hand was too ordinary. Although it was an ancient object, there were definitely many ancient objects left behind in the human world. The ancient bronze cauldron had ancient patterns carved on it. There were birds, beasts, insects, fishes, rivers, lakes, mountains, and even the silhouettes of ancient people. Although this ancient cauldron was only the size of a fist, it was 10,000 zhang wide. This ancient cauldron was an unparalleled divine cauldron that had appeared since the age of legends. Come! Gu Fei held the ancient cauldron and lifted it up. Boom! A muffled sound came from the ancient cauldron and a whirlpool appeared at the mouth of the cauldron. The ancient cauldron produced a heaven-devouring force, continuously devouring the corpse chi that was descending from the sky. Humph, you're courting death, how dare you fight with me for this world? In the sky, outside the gate of the ancient city, Long Ba Dao sneered. He held a pitch-black gourd in his hand. The corpse chi was released from this black gourd. The resources of the extraterrestrial divine mountain were indeed astonishing. They had actually refined the saint's corpse chi into a magic treasure. The corpse chi of a sage was no ordinary corpse chi. It was an extremely poisonous gas formed after the corpses of sage realm experts rotted away after their deaths. Saint-level experts wouldn't die so easily. Even in the mythological era and the ancient desolate era, saint-level experts were lofty existences. Even if a saint-level expert died, his corpse would be immortal and difficult to decay. This required a special place or a special method to cause the corpse of a saint-level expert to decay. No matter how strong Long Bideo was, he would not dare to fight two half-saints at the same time, especially when Gu Fei was not an ordinary half-saint. Swish! Long Bedeo was very decisive. He directly broke the void and escaped. Preposterous! He Tian was furious. He never thought that this guy would actually escape. An expert from extraterrestrial Divine Mountain? In the end, he was just a rat. But Gu Fei knew that this Long Bedeo was not simple. Seeing that he could not win, he immediately escaped without any hesitation. Such a person would be a good opponent. The ancient city has not been breached by that guy. He Tian put away the killing formation. Everyone came to the front of the ancient city, only to see that the gate was closed. The entire ancient city was under the cover of a huge divine formation. Only through the gate could one enter the city. I didn't think that Long Bedeo was that kind of person. Zhong Li Meng sighed. She had misjudged him. There was such a huge commotion, but the other people who entered this world had not appeared yet. It seemed that everyone was being held back by something. This part of the world was not peaceful. This was the territory of the ancient desolate beasts. For countless years, no one had restrained these wild beasts, so the wild nature of these wild beasts had completely recovered. At this time, even if the ancient sages personally came, they would not be able to suppress these beasts. These beasts needed to be subdued again. These wild beasts naturally wanted to eat the cultivators who had entered this world. One must know that the flesh and blood of a half-step saint contained a large amount of essence qi. The path that these beasts walked was different from the human race. The essence contained in the corpses of cultivators could be refined by these beasts for their own use. For the savage beasts, the cultivators that entered this world were the best food for them. Everyone looked at the ancient city in front of them. The ancient city occupied a large area and floated high in the sky, blocking half of the sky. The buildings in the city were not very luxurious. This ancient city should have been refined by the ancient sage to allow his people to live in it. In the center of the ancient city, there was a divine light flashing. Seeing this divine light, He Tian was extremely excited. He could feel the aura of the origin of heaven and earth. It's in the city, He Tian said. No wonder Long Bedeo was attacking the gate. He wanted to enter the ancient city and take away the origin of heaven and earth. As long as he refined the origin of heaven and earth, this world would belong to him. However, the world could change at any time. Even Long Bedeo could not change anything. Gu Fei's group was too arrogant. They were not a match for Gu Fei. I also know that the problem is how to enter. Gu Fei frowned as he looked at the ancient city gate. A grand formation laid down by a sage monarch was not so easy to break. It would take some time to prepare. No wonder Long Bedeo couldn't break the gate. We need to think about it carefully. He Tian also nodded. A sage monarch's grand formation was not ordinary. It was worth his time to study it. It would help him improve his formation attainments. No one was in a hurry because there was no point in being anxious. Gu Fei and He Tian carefully observed the ancient city's grand formation while Gu Zhong and the others stood to the side. There was a stone base on each side of the gate. The stone base was empty, but there were many stones scattered around it. Obviously, there were 2 stone puppets guarding the city gate. Those 2 stone puppets should have been killed by Long Bedeo. Everyone was incomparably shocked. Long Bedeo had used his own strength to kill 2 stone puppets. He actually had such powerful battle strength. Gu Fei and the others had seen the power of the stone puppets. They had spent a great deal of effort to kill the previous 3 puppets. With this kind of battle strength, he doesn't dare to fight Master, Gu Zhong said. Many people disapproved of Long Bedeo's actions. Long Bedeo would do anything to achieve his goals. He's hiding in the dark. We can't guard against him. Old Jiao was a bit worried. Long Bedeo was the most outstanding person from extraterrestrial Divine Mountain. If such a person wanted to assassinate someone, very few people could stop him. With me and boss here, that guy won't dare to come again. Don't worry, He Tian said. Long Bedeo was scared away by them. If he dared to appear again, it would be impossible for him to escape. There was no doubt about Gu Fei's strength. Hearing He Tian's words, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. But they still didn't dare to relax. It had to be known that their opponent was a half-step saint. Being targeted by a half-step saint wasn't a good thing. So it's here. Chapter 1841. This person is. In front of the ancient city gate, everyone was taken aback. The first person to arrive was actually an old man. This old man wasn't simple. Although he wasn't like Chiu Wuqing and that mysterious woman, there was one thing that could be confirmed. This old man was very powerful. He's one of the 12 semi-sage experts invited by Long Bidao. I didn't expect this guy to hide so deeply. He Tian looked at the old man with a dignified expression. The old man did not emit any powerful aura, but even Gu Fei could feel a strong pressure from the old man. Brother Gu, you really live up to your reputation. You actually found this place. After seeing Gu Fei and the others, the old man did not seem surprised, as if he had already expected that Gu Fei and the others could find the ancient city hidden in the sky. Who are you? Gu Fei did not say anything. He Tian stared at the old man and asked the question that everyone wanted to know. Who was this old man? How could he get rid of those wild beasts? This old man is a nobody. I don't need to say my name. The old man did not want to say his origin. Humph. Gu Fei sneered. This guy is pretending to be mysterious, or does he have other motives? But even if this guy had ulterior motives, Gu Fei was not afraid. Boss, what do you think? He Tian's voice rang in Gu Fei's mind. He transmitted his voice to Gu Fei. Ignore him, said Gu Fei. Although this old man was powerful, he was not someone to be trifled with. The only thing that made Gu Fei worried was that He Tian and himself were the only opponents of this old man. If this old man suddenly attacked Gu Zhong, old Jiao and the others, Gu Zhong and the others would be in danger. Hee, brother Gu, don't worry. This old man means no harm. The old man seemed to have seen through Gu Fei and the others' concerns, so he said these words. Yes. Gu Fei couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. This old man had the ability to discern a person's thoughts from their body language, and had actually guessed the trace of worry in his heart. Of course, with Gu Fei's current cultivation and strength, if others wanted to deal with him, they would have to be very careful. If they couldn't kill Gu Fei, then they would have to bear Gu Fei's revenge. Gu Fei was a ruthless person who dared to challenge quasi-sages. Quasi-sages had already been recognized as the pinnacle existence in the mortal world, second only to existences like Ghost Emperor Fengdu. At this stage of cultivation, Gu Fei could vaguely guess that Ghost Emperor Fengdu's state was very special. This kind of existence was truly invincible in the world. This is good, Gu Fei said. Although he didn't trust this old man, the old man didn't show any hostility. It seemed like there was no reason to kill him. He was not a homicidal maniac who would kill anyone he saw. Buzz. At this moment, a sword light suddenly broke through the layer of clouds below the ancient city and rushed up. It was a powerful sword cultivator. He became one with the sword and turned into a sword light, landing in front of the city gate. It was a skinny middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's face was sallow and sickly, but no one dared to look down on him. This person was like an unsheathed heavenly sword from head to toe. The sword-chi fluctuation of the half-step saint realm caused the surrounding temperature to drop. This middle-aged man was also one of the 12 half-step saints invited by Long Bidao. Among the 12 half-step saints invited by Long Bidao, besides one who was killed by Gu Fei, the other one was killed by Red Blood Beast Huang and used as food. However, what surprised Gu Fei was that Chiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman were the strongest among the 12 half-step saints. However, these two people found the ancient city in the sky earlier than Chiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman. Roar. At this moment, a furious roar rang out from the depths of this world. It's Chiu Wuqing. Upon hearing this voice, Gu Fei couldn't help but be shocked. He was well aware of Chiu Wuqing's combat strength. This was an expert who could fight endlessly with him. Moreover, Chiu Wuqing had the rare God Fiend body. The God-fiend body could only be possessed by those who had truly awakened the God-fiend bloodline. Among the ancient deity demons in the God-fallen sea, there was absolutely no one who could have the God-fiend body. In this life, among the deity demons, only Chiu-Wuching had the God-fiend body. There was no doubt that this ancient body was powerful. Hearing Chiu-Wuching's roar, he seemed to be in big trouble and was fighting with a powerful existence. The powerful God-fiend aura could even be sensed from the ancient city in the sky. Old Chiu has encountered a powerful enemy. He Tian was shocked. In this world, there seemed to be an existence that could force Chiu-Wuching to go all out. This surprised him a little. However, this was a cave refined by the ancient sages. It seemed that nothing was impossible. The stone puppets from before had a powerful strength that was close to that of a sage to be. In other areas of this world, there was also a strong fluctuation. Needless to say, it was the others who had encountered trouble. "Boss, what should we do next?" He Tian asked Gu Fei. Now that there were more and more people, Chiu-Wuching and the others would arrive soon. Long Bideo was hiding in the dark and was the most difficult to guard against. The lineage of the extraterrestrial divine mountain was very ancient. No one knew what other trump cards Long Bideo had not used. One should know that he even had a magic treasure refined from the corpse chi of a sage. In fact, what Gu Fei didn't know was that when the corpse chi of a sage was taken away by Gu Fei with the mountain and river cauldron, Long Bideo's heart was bleeding. This was a magic treasure that he obtained when he explored an ancient relic. The black gourd itself had an extraordinary origin. It was the first gourd that grew on another ghost vine that grew in the depths of hell. This was an evil object of extreme that was bred by the endless death chi. It was born from heaven and earth, which also meant that this ghost vine was extraordinary. Only this kind of gourd could contain the corpse chi of a sage. Let's wait and see. Gu Fei didn't want to make a move too early. He wanted to see how these people would break the gate and enter the ancient city. This was a divine city that was sealed by the Sage King himself. None of the 12 sage to be invited by Long Bideo were weak. These people definitely had many tricks up their sleeves. However, Gu Fei was not in a hurry. He Tian nodded. Only by knowing oneself and one's enemy could one win 100 battles. Let's see if we can find Long Bideo first. He is hiding in the dark and is very disadvantageous to us. Gu Fei wanted to eliminate Long Bideo, this hidden danger. Long Bideo actually wanted to kill them with the death chi of a sage. He felt a little uneasy if he didn't get rid of such a person. I think so too. He Tian almost fell for it. He was even more eager to get rid of Long Bideo. Of course, he was an expert from the extraterrestrial divine mountain with a mysterious and ancient force behind him. He was not afraid of Gu Fei. Boom! The black gourd in Long Bideo's hand spewed out rays of black light. This black gourd was used to store the corpse chi of a sage. This gourd was not only able to store the corpse chi of a sage, it was also an incomparably powerful instrument. Rays of black light pierced through the void, destroying everything. Even the formation runes that He Tian had left in the void were destroyed by the black light. A wave of sage-level energy spread out from the black gourd. Divine instrument. He Tian was shocked. Long Bideo was the descendant of extraterrestrial divine mountain and had many treasures on him. This black gourd was also a rare instrument. Collect. Long Bideo suddenly pointed the black gourd at He Tian and activated a technique. A heaven-devouring force immediately rushed out from the black gourd and swallowed He Tian, who was in the killing formation. What? He Tian felt his body tighten as if it was tied up by an invisible thread. Then, he flew towards the mouth of the black gourd. Want to take your father? With a single thought, an almost invisible sword light rushed out from Mahakala's body. It immediately destroyed the devouring power that enveloped him, and then rushed towards Long Bideo. Divine sword. Long Bideo's heart skipped a beat when he saw the almost transparent sword light. His opponent also had a divine weapon, and it was an almost transparent divine sword. The invisible sword light was as fast as lightning. In an instant, it arrived in front of Long Bedeo. The cold sword chi made Long Bedeo feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. Swoosh! Just as the formless sword light was about to hit Long Bedeo, a divine diagram suddenly rushed out of Long Bedeo's body and enveloped him. Buzz! The invisible divine sword struck the divine diagram and slid past it. The invisible divine sword's swordlight was deflected by the power that erupted from the divine diagram. What? Haitian couldn't help being startled. Long Bedeo really had quite a few treasures on him. He's going to escape again. Suddenly, Gu Fei's voice rang in Haitian's mind. Escaping again. Haitian was startled. This place was already sealed by his killing formation. How could this guy still escape? Swoosh! At this moment, the divine diagram that enveloped Long Bedeo suddenly shone with millions of divine lights. It actually pierced through the void, wrapped around Long Bedeo, and directly escaped. Boom! At the same time, a huge hand directly grabbed down from the sky, smashing the void and turning the place where Long Bedeo was into chaos. Gu Fei took action, but he was half a step too slow. Long Bedeo escaped into the void and disappeared in an instant. His speed was unimaginable. Roar! Haitian roared at the sky. Long Bedeo was too cunning and had secret treasures on him. Even with Gu Fei's help, this guy still escaped again. However, Haitian would not let this guy go so easily. He put away the killing formation and once again used the great divination divine art to deduce Long Bedeo's location. However, this time, Haitian's great divination divine art failed. Long Bedeo seemed to have used a secret treasure to hide himself. At this time, even if the real Heaven's Secret Sect Master came, he would not be able to deduce Long Bedeo's location. Long Bedeo knew that he was not a match for Gu Fei and Haitian. He did not want to take the risk. He was a very cautious person, otherwise he would not have lived until now. Damn it! After deducing more than a dozen times in a row, Haitian had to give up. If a half-saint wanted to escape, and this master had an artifact that could allow him to escape, it would be very difficult to intercept such an existence. Unless Gu Fei used the mountain and river cauldron first to seal the heaven and earth, then he would be able to stop Long Bedeo. Rumble! Just as Haitian was filled with hatred, a thunderous sound came from the sky. It's starting so soon! Chapter 1843. Long Bedeo's escape made Haitian very unhappy. That guy was extremely cunning and did not dare to confront Haitian and Gu Fei head-on at all. He directly escaped with a secret treasure. This outstanding figure from the extraterrestrial divine mountain seemed to be as good at escaping as Haitian. Rumble! At this moment, a muffled thunderous sound came from the sky. The thick layer of clouds above the mountain peak surged violently. Soon, the clouds dispersed and an ancient city appeared high up in the sky. An ancient and vicissitude aura spread out from the ancient city. I didn't expect it to be in the sky, someone exclaimed. Not everyone could find the ancient city in the sky immediately. The ancient city was protected by the ancient sage's formation. If it wasn't for someone attacking the formation protecting the ancient city's aura wouldn't have leaked out. It's finally starting. Someone can't wait any longer, Gu Fei muttered. At this time, he did not release Gu Zhong and the others who were in his inner world. This level of competition was not something they could handle. If it was in the human world, a cultivator of the almighty realm would be able to hold his own. However, it was not possible here. One should know that those who entered the sage realm were all experts of the half-step saint realm. Even Gu Zhong could not compete with a half-step saint at this time. Boss, should we go and have a look? Haitian knew that those half-step saints who were tricked by Long Bedeo also had many secret treasures on them. Perhaps they could break open the Sage King formation. Die, evil beast! Just when Gu Fei and the others were about to soar into the sky, a roar came from the depths of the mountain. Then, an extremely powerful divine demon force instantly erupted. Swoosh! Then, a blood light suddenly appeared in the depths of the mountain. A giant beast suddenly fell to the ground. It's Qiu Wuqing. Qiu Wuqing's combat strength was unquestionable. In Gu Fei's view, Qiu Wuqing's strength was probably above Azure Dragon's. He was a formidable opponent. A figure walked out from the depths of the mountain ridge. The power of gods and demons was vast and mighty. Qiu Wuqing was like the grim reaper that walked out from hell. Fresh blood was still dripping from the halberd in his hand. Qiu Wuqing had also discovered Gu Fei and He Tian. However, he didn't come over. Instead, he took a glance at the place where Gu Fei and He Tian were. Then, he wielded his halberd and rushed towards the ancient city in the sky. Rumble! The muffled sounds of thunder continued to ring out. This time, the ripples of energy in the sky were much more powerful. Someone was attacking with a saint weapon. The saintly aura surged through the surroundings, intimidating the entire world. Even the most powerful ferocious beast in the world did not dare to make any strange movements at this moment. Without becoming a saint, one would always be an ant. In front of the power of a saint, even a powerful beast at the level of a beast emperor would have to bow its head. There was no doubt about it. Very quickly, a figure also rushed out from another region of the world. That person was that mysterious woman. She held a divine bow in her hand and her entire body was shrouded in a layer of divine fire. She stepped on fire clouds and looked like a fairy in the fire. She was elegant and otherworldly, without a trace of the aura of a mortal. Let's go and watch the show. Gu Fei rushed into the sky. With one step, he arrived at the peak of the mountain in an instant. Then, he went directly to the city gate of the ancient city in the sky. He Tian arrived soon after. Brother Gu. After the mysterious woman saw Gu Fei, she walked over. Qiu Wuqing also saw Gu Fei. However, he did not walk over. He only nodded at Gu Fei and ignored Gu Fei and He Tian. Gu Fei did not mind. This was Qiu Wuqing's temperament. He was cold and gave people a feeling that it was difficult to get close to him. At this time, there were already 5 or 6 people gathered in front of the city gate. Gu Fei was surprised to find that among these people, there were actually unfamiliar faces. There were 2 people that Gu Fei had not seen before. These 2 people were not among the 12 sage to be invited by Long Bideo. Could it be that there were still cultivators in this sage world? The 2 people had a fierce aura on them. This kind of aura was accumulated by living in the sacred mountain for many years and fighting with powerful beasts. The 2 cultivators were also wrapped in the skin of some kind of strange beast. They looked like hunters in the mountains. However, it would be wrong to look down on them because of this. These 2 people were very powerful. They were also at the sage-to-be level. Moreover, they had been fighting with beasts for many years. Their combat experience must be very rich. The old man and the skinny middle-aged man were standing in front of the city gate. They drove the holy weapons in their hands and bombarded the city gate. The strong power of the divine path made everyone feel a great threat. Boom! A divine hammer flew out of the old man's hand. There were countless Tao patterns on the divine hammer. It displayed the strong fluctuation of the divine path and smashed towards the city gate. This was a holy weapon. The brand of the divine path had awakened in the divine hammer, and it displayed an extremely strong power. However, when such a powerful hammer slammed into the city gates, the 2 tightly shut gates also began to glow with immortal Tao runes. The divine patterns of the immortal path interweaved and attracted the power of the immortal path. The divine hammer actually bounced away. The formation set up by the King of Saints was not that easy to break. The old man flew up and caught the divine hammer that was bounced away. He could not help but shake his head. Ordinary divine weapons really could not shake the King of Saints formation that covered the entire ancient city. However, a shocking sword chi rushed out of the middle-aged man's body. A huge golden dragon rushed out of his body and instantly soared tens of thousands of feet. Then, it swooped down and collided with the city gate. This is... The powerful ripples of sword chi caused the surrounding temperature to drop rapidly. Everyone felt a chill in their bodies, as if they had fallen into an ice cave. It's the golden dragon sword. I didn't expect this divine sword to appear. Someone recognized the dragon-shaped sword light. It was the golden dragon sword, which had appeared during the later period of the primordial age. It was a divine sword refined by a person called the Golden Dragon Saint. Legend had it that the Golden Dragon Saint was a true nine heavens golden dragon that cultivated into a divine dragon. The Golden Dragon Sword was a divine sword refined by him using his transformed divine body. Although the Golden Dragon Saint was a demonic saint, he often took human form and walked among humans. He had once left behind a great reputation, and was in unparalleled existence during the later period of the primordial age. Boom! The Golden Dragon Sword that had turned into a huge golden dragon instantly collided with the ancient city gate. This time, ripples visible to the naked eye appeared on the city gate, spreading in all directions like waves. However, the golden dragon also dissipated. A divine sword that shone with golden light vibrated. The divine sword was also knocked away by the power of the King of Saints formation on the city gate. What? Even the Golden Dragon Sword can't break it. What should we do? Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Those who knew about the origin of the Golden Dragon Saint were even more shocked. The Golden Dragon Saint seemed to be a king of sages. This Golden Dragon Sword is indeed extraordinary. Gu Fei and He Tian looked at each other. The Golden Dragon Sword was already able to shake the ancient city gate, but the problem was that the middle-aged man's cultivation was not high enough. It was impossible for him to unleash the true power of the Golden Dragon Sword. The skinny middle-aged man was only a half-sage, and the Golden Dragon Sword was a legendary weapon refined by the King of Demons. A half-sage's cultivation could not awaken the King of Sages' imprint in the Golden Dragon Sword. Unless the descendant of the Golden Dragon Saint came and poured his blood on the divine sword, he might be able to awaken the Great Path imprint in the King of Sages' divine weapon. It was obvious that the skinny middle-aged man did not have any demonic aura on him. He was not a demonic cultivator, and it was even more impossible for him to be the descendant of the Golden Dragon Saint in the later period of the primordial age. "Fellow Taoists, come and lend me a hand," the middle-aged man said to the crowd. The Golden Dragon Sword had already flown back into his hand. The Golden Dragon Sword had just successfully shaken the ancient city's grand formation. That was obvious to all, and the crowd could not help but be tempted. "All right." The old man walked over and placed his right hand on the middle-aged man's back, injecting his immortal power into the man's body. Seeing the old man walk out, a few others walked out as well and placed their hands on the middle-aged man's shoulder or back. Rumble! 4 half-sages were exerting their powers at the same time. The middle-aged man's body immediately rumbled with the sound of wind and thunder. His slightly pale face was now flushed red. He used a secret art, and guided the 4 powerful forces that had rushed into his body into the Golden Dragon Sword in his hand. Buzz! The Golden Dragon Sword was ringing, and an astonishing burst of sword chi erupted from it. A series of tiny dragon-shaped Tao patterns seemed to have sprung to life as they swam across the blade of the Golden Dragon Sword. The divine sword seemed to be showing signs of awakening under the powerful divine power. Roar! The middle-aged man's face was so red that he looked like he was about to bleed. He circulated his magic power with all his might, and guided the power of the 4 half-sages behind him into the Golden Dragon Sword. Boom! Suddenly, the Golden Dragon Sword exerted a powerful suction force and began devouring the power of the middle-aged man and the 4 half-sages behind him. What? The 4 half-sages behind the middle-aged man were shocked. They could sense that their origin power was being shaken by the devouring force, and the power of the immortal Tao within them was rapidly being drained away. The Golden Dragon Sword underwent a shocking change. The brand of the great Tao within it was truly awakening, and it was being forcibly awakened by powerful magic power. Wisps of holy aura began to proliferate from the Golden Dragon Sword. Everyone's expressions changed. Even Gu Fei's expression grew solemn. He Tian put away his trademark frivolous expression and watched the scene unfold. Gu Fei and He Tian had both cultivated the eyes of God, so they could see 9 faint patterns on the Golden Dragon Sword. They were 9 Tao patterns. Once one's cultivation reached a certain level, all Tao patterns would gradually evolve into 9 ultimate Tao patterns. Even Saint Kings were no exception. Amidst an earth-shattering noise, the golden dragon slammed into the city gate, causing countless formation runes to appear on the city gate. Under the attack of the powerful sword chi, a large number of runes collapsed. The Sage King level runes had actually been destroyed. A crack was blasted open on the tightly shut city gate, and everyone was pleasantly surprised to see that the golden dragon sword was indeed extremely powerful. The golden dragon sword was a saint ruler weapon refined by a supreme figure in the later stages of the primordial era. The sword was very famous during that time. However, since the golden dragon sword had been obtained by a later generation, it also meant that the golden dragon saint might have fallen. It should be known that the divine weapon refined by a saint would never leave their body. Once it left their body, there was only one result, and that was that the original owner had fallen. Even someone as powerful as a Sage King could fall. The city gate has really been blasted open. Gu Fei and He Tian could not help but be shocked when they saw this. At this moment, Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman, who had been quietly observing the situation like Gu Fei, were also extremely shocked. Once again, everyone poured an immeasurable amount of spiritual essence into the golden dragon divine sword. Once again, the golden dragon divine sword erupted with a terrifying fluctuation that shook the heavens. The divine sword transformed into a golden dragon and charged towards the city gate that had already been blasted open. There was another loud explosion, and the heavy city gate was blasted open a little more. However, it was still difficult for one person to pass through. The middle-aged man guided the power of the 6 half-step saints behind him to drive the golden dragon sword and attacked another 4 or 5 times. At this time, a gap that could allow one person to pass through finally appeared on the city gate. At this time, the middle-aged man and the other 6 half-step saints were so tired that they were drenched in sweat. They looked as if they had just jumped out of the water and were on the verge of collapsing. Thank you, everyone. At this time, He Tian walked up with a smile and directly entered the ancient city. You. The middle-aged man's expression changed greatly. The city gate that they had blasted open with their lives was actually beaten by someone else and entered the ancient city before them. This made them so angry that they almost vomited blood. Seeing that He Tian had entered the ancient city, Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman also moved. With a flash, they also entered the ancient city. However, when Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman rushed into the ancient city, there was a cry of surprise and the sound of a big fight coming from within the ancient city. Roar, what's going on? Qiu Wuqing's voice was heard. He seemed to have encountered some trouble in the city, and a powerful wave of divine demon power spread out from the city gate. Damn it! The mysterious woman's voice was also heard. Yes, thank you both for scouting the way for me. At this time, He Tian's voice was heard from behind the city gate. Although he was the first person to enter the ancient city, he did not walk in. He only hid behind the city gate. This guy was very careful. No one knew what dangers were in the city. When Qiu Wuqing and the mysterious woman saw that Erebus had entered the ancient city, they naturally didn't want to be left behind. Hence, they dashed in immediately. How could they have known that Erebus was actually hiding behind the city gate when they dashed in? You're cheating people again. When Gu Fei walked into the ancient city and saw this scene, he could not help but be shocked. He saw that Qiu Wuqing was surrounded by 3 stone men on the streets of the ancient city. On the other hand, the mysterious woman had barged into a killing formation. She was constantly attacking the formation, trying to break out of it. There was indeed something strange about this ancient city. The stone men puppets were extremely powerful and had strength close to the saint level. Qiu Wuqing was in great danger as he fought with the 3 stone men. Puppets were ultimately still puppets. Under the situation where there was no one controlling them, although they had great strength, they were still not as flexible as a real person. Roar! After Qiu Wuqing forced 2 stone men to retreat, he suddenly let out a loud roar and leaped up. He waved the black halberd in his hands with all his strength and slashed at the 3rd stone man puppet with all his might. Bang! The black halberd slashed on the head of the stone man puppet. The halberd directly exploded half of the stone man puppet's head. Chapter 1845. The gate of the ancient city was blasted open. The golden dragon sword was indeed worthy of being a saint weapon refined by a saint king in the late primordial era. Even though it hadn't fully awakened, it was enough to shake the saint king formation. Of course, both formations and saint weapons were things refined by saints to improve their combat strength. However, saint weapons were saint weapons after all, so they were naturally more powerful than formations. Buzz! The golden dragon sword vibrated. The 7 half-saints were on the verge of collapse. The golden dragon sword stopped devouring the essence of the 7 half-saints, and the golden light it emitted gradually dimmed. Preposterous! The 7 half-saints who had contributed the most were so angry that they almost vomited blood when they saw Gu Fei and the others taking advantage of the situation and rushing into the ancient city first. However, they couldn't do anything at this time. Ha ha! Hei Tian's loud laughter came from the gate, and the 7 half-saints' expressions became even more unsightly. The middle-aged man and the 6 half-saints sat cross-legged on the ground and used all their strength to draw the surrounding spirit chi of heaven and earth. They wanted to recover their lost vitality as quickly as possible. The 7 half-saints worked together, and the spirit chi of heaven and earth in all directions was drawn to the 7 figures sitting cross-legged outside the city gate. They were like 7 bottomless vortexes that devoured almost all the spirit chi of heaven and earth in a radius of 10,000 miles. The spirit chi of heaven and earth was dense in this part of the sage world, and the trees here were taller and more luxuriant than those outside. Some trees had even grown for 10,000 years and had become tree spirits. Phew! The middle-aged man let out a long sigh after an hour, then stood up and put the golden dragon sword that was hovering above everyone's head back into his body. The middle-aged man had an impressive background. He was an expert from an ancient sword cultivation sect, the Sky Rapier sect. The golden dragon sword was the Sky Rapier sect's sect-guarding divine weapon. Swoosh! The middle-aged man transformed into a ray of sword light and rushed into the ancient city. Gu Fei and the others were nowhere to be seen by now. The city was filled with a tense atmosphere. Everyone wanted to obtain the item in the depths of the ancient city. Bang! 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 Heavy footsteps sounded out in the surroundings of the ancient city. There were stone golem puppets everywhere in the ancient city. They were a powerful force that protected the ancient city. The stone golems in the ancient city contained a portion of the Sage King's great Tao imprint, and were extremely powerful. Each of the stone golems had a combat strength of at least a quasi-sage. However, these stone men had a fatal weakness. They didn't have their own consciousness, and couldn't react accurately to any sudden situation. However, the stone golems had a common goal, which was to kill all living beings that dared to enter the ancient city. That was the mission that the Saint King had given the stone golems. The middle-aged man had no choice but to stop because a figure had appeared in front of him. It was a stone golem. At this moment, the stone man also noticed the middle-aged man. He took a step forward and instantly appeared before the middle-aged man. He then threw a punch at the middle-aged man. Rumble! That stone fist was extremely heavy, causing the void to tremble. The power of this fist was too great, causing the middle-aged man's expression to change. The battle was unavoidable. The middle-aged man and the stone man clashed together. At this moment, intense energy waves erupted from various places in the ancient city. It was hard for anyone who entered the ancient city to avoid bumping into the stone golems that guarded the ancient city. Boom! A stone golem exploded and a figure passed through the shattered rocks. This person was extremely powerful. His black hair fluttered in the wind and his eyes were like cold stars. It was Gu Fei. Bzzz. In another direction, the void vibrated. Countless runes covered a radius of 100 feet. This was a killing formation. Within the killing formation were 3 stone golems. The stone golems were very strong. Even though they were trapped by the killing formation, they were still charging left and right. They shook the killing formation and were about to break out. I'll let you have a taste of how strong your Grandpa Hei is. In the middle of the killing formation, a figure sat cross-legged in the air. Countless runes rushed out from his body, imprinting themselves in the air. The killing formation triggered a heaven-shaking power that rushed towards the 3 stone golems in the middle of the formation. If an ordinary half-sage was trapped in this killing formation, he would have been killed long ago. However, these 3 stone golems were puppets refined by the Sage King. The Sage King's methods were very powerful. He had refined countless stone golems, and every single one of them had the combat strength of a half-sage. This was simply an army of half-sages. Even if it was a power that had existed for countless years, it would be impossible for them to have such an army. Haitian wanted to destroy these 3 stone golems. The shocking divine light within the killing formation transformed into a sword of extermination, piercing through the 3 stone golems from all directions. Even though the 3 stone golems were very strong, they still suffered a huge impact. Dust was constantly falling from their bodies. At this moment, Gu Fei had already destroyed the last stone golem and was walking towards Haitian. On the dark street, only Gu Fei's footsteps could be heard. This street was deserted. Broken rocks could be seen everywhere on the ground. These were the broken pieces of the stone golems that were killed by Gu Fei. All the stone golems on the street had been cleared by him. At the end of the street, Haitian was still operating the killing formation. He wanted to kill the 3 stone golems that he had trapped in the formation. However, these stone golems were still puppets refined by the Sage King. They weren't that easy to kill. "Do you need my help?" Gu Fei asked. I couldn't ask for more. After Haitian saw that Gu Fei had arrived, he couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. They couldn't waste any more time because many people had already entered this ancient city. He had already sensed the fluctuation of a sage-level expert appearing in the center of this ancient city. Someone had already charged into the depths of this ancient city with a sage-level treasure. If someone else obtained that item, then it would have nothing to do with them anymore. All right. Gu Fei nodded and directly walked into Haitian's killing formation. He walked towards the 3 stone golems that were trapped in it. His expression was relaxed, without a trace of nervousness. Without any suspense, Gu Fei attacked. The 3 stone golems were immediately destroyed by his chaotic fists. A portion of the great Tao imprints within the stone golems also dissipated. Let's go. Gu Fei punched 3 times consecutively and destroyed the 3 stone golems. He then directly walked towards the depths of the ancient city. At this time, 2 powerful auras had already appeared in the depths of the ancient city. Someone had entered earlier than Gu Fei and the others to fight for that item. It seems like each of them has a great power behind them. It should be noted that sacred artifacts were not something that ordinary cultivators could possess. Heaven Transformation Seal, Soaring Serpent Whip. A voice rang out. The mysterious woman had arrived. She was also very surprised to see these 2 sacred artifacts. The great imprint that emitted endless immortal light was a famous sacred artifact of the immortal Tao, the Heaven Transformation Seal. This Heaven Transformation Seal was a protective divine artifact refined by an immortal Tao saint of the primordial era. Once it was unleashed, the world would turn into primordial chaos. It was incomparably powerful. The Soaring Serpent Whip was a very malicious sacred tool. The original owner of the Soaring Serpent Whip was an extremely vicious fellow. This divine whip was refined from the corpse of a primordial venomous python. That primordial venomous python was innately poisonous. Living beings did not dare to approach it. Its poison was enough to make even a saint fearful. Haitian had no choice but to retreat. He was not a saint. If he was infected by the soaring serpent's poison, he would most likely die and enter the cycle of reincarnation. To Haitian, his reincarnation had just begun. How could he be willing to end it like this? Whoosh! Haitian retracted his killing formation. Boundless formation runes converged from all directions and entered his body. At the same time, his silhouette flickered in the air, retreating to Gu Fei's side. The Heaven Transformation Seal and Soaring Serpent Whip continued their pursuit. The Great Seal was like a huge mountain, smashing down on Gu Fei and Haitian from the sky, blocking out the entire sky. Terrifying power of the immortal Tao poured down from the Great Seal. This was a shocking power that could slice apart the void, returning a part of the world to primordial chaos. This is. Gu Fei and He Tian were both shocked. They sensed a familiar energy fluctuation from the heaven transformation seal. That was the power of one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao. The secret art of returning truth. How is this possible? Gu Fei and He Tian were incomparably shocked. No wonder this heaven transformation seal could turn the void into primordial chaos. So it turned out that it contained the power of one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the secret art of returning truth. However, they soon sensed something strange. The power of returning truth on the heaven transformation seal was not pure at all. It seemed like it wasn't the complete power of returning truth. 10,000 transformations return truth. He Tian made his move. He directly stretched out his right hand. Divine immortal light surged on his right hand, turning into a huge hand that blotted out the sky, grabbing towards the heaven transformation imprint. Bzz. The seal began to vibrate. It seemed to resonate with one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, the secret art of returning truth, which was used by Mahakala. What? The immeasurable old man was shocked. This seal was a supreme treasure of his sect and could not be lost. However, his opponent was actually able to use a secret art to activate it. This was something that had never happened before. Rumble. The heaven transformation seal was still descending, but the destructive power of the seal had diminished by quite a bit. Countless divine runes of the immortal Tao flickered on the surface of the seal. Boom! The heaven transformation seal smashed down from the sky, but it wasn't aimed at Gu Fei and He Tian. Instead, it smashed into the soaring serpent whip that had transformed into a poisonous python. The 2 saint treasures collided violently. The destructive power of the collision shook the entire ancient city. If it wasn't for the protection of the formations, this ancient city would definitely have been destroyed. Old man immeasurable, you! Xian Tong was shocked. At this moment, this old man immeasurable was truly vengeful. As long as there was a chance, he would suppress Xian Tong. How hateful! Humph! The immeasurable old man snorted coldly. In truth, only he knew that this collision between the heaven transformation seal and the soaring serpent whip was not intentional. However, he didn't need to explain anything. It's effective. He Tian circulated the secret art of returning truth with all his might. Within his palm, there seemed to be a world that was constantly evolving, transforming into primordial chaos, transforming into heaven and earth, and then returning back to primordial chaos. Above his palm, there seemed to be a cycle of reincarnation, a cycle of reincarnation. The power of the secret art of returning truth was unleashed to its peak. The heaven transformation seal gradually broke free from the immeasurable old man's control, descending towards He Tian's palm. What? Chapter 1847. Although He Tian's secret art of returning truth hadn't been cultivated to perfection, it was enough to break apart the void of the world, returning a part of the void to primal chaos. The 9 secrets of the immortal Tao. Each secret was an undefeatable supreme immortal art. They were the 9 ultimate powers derived from the supreme Tao ancestor. He Tian cultivated the immortal Tao. Although his immortal Tao was different from others and he walked his own path, the general direction remained the same. Rumble. The heaven transformation seal descended from the sky, becoming smaller and smaller. The Tao runes on it dimmed and gradually disappeared into the seal. The power of the seal was converging. How is this possible? Only now did the immeasurable old man panic. The opponent seemed to be using some kind of secret art. This secret art could actually resonate with the heaven transformation seal. Everyone was dumbfounded. The heaven transformation seal actually broke free from the immeasurable old man's control. He Tian extended his hand and directly grabbed the seal. The power of the immortal Tao surged in his hand, suppressing the seal in his hand. A half-sage could actually suppress a sacred weapon. This was simply a miracle. Everyone couldn't believe it. How was this possible? The mysterious woman's eyes flickered when she saw this. She seemed to have noticed something, but she didn't say anything. You! The immeasurable old man was dumbfounded. A sacred weapon of his sect was so easily taken away by the opponent. He simply couldn't believe what he was seeing. Humph, many thanks. An evil smile appeared on Haitian's face as he looked at the immeasurable old man. The immeasurable old man was so angry that he almost vomited blood. This guy was still pretending to be innocent after taking advantage of him. The immeasurable old man almost wanted to rush up and fight with Haitian. However, he hadn't completely lost his rationality. Rushing up now was no different from suicide. What's going on? Everyone was bewildered. Even Xian Tong kept his soaring serpent whip, fearing that it would also be taken away by Haitian. Everyone was cautious as they quietly watched Haitian. In fact, Haitian knew very well that he was lucky. The ancient sage who refined this seal seemed to have obtained an incomplete version of one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, the secret art of returning truth. The power of the immortal Tao contained within the heaven transformation seal was precisely the power of the incomplete secret art of returning to truth. Soon, the ancient seal in Haitian's hand quietened down and turned into a green jade seal the size of an adult's fist. When the immeasurable old man saw this scene, his eyes turned red. He knew that his sect's sacred artifact had already been completely suppressed by his opponent. This meant that he had lost the ancient seal. I will kill you! This time, the immeasurable old man could no longer endure it. He was very clear what losing this ancient seal meant. Even if he returned to the sect, only death would await him. Boom! The immeasurable old man's entire body radiated with boundless divine light. An extremely powerful energy fluctuation gushed out from his body as he pounced towards Haitian. His white hair danced wildly in the wind and his face was incomparably malevolent. Just like that, he pounced over, using his most powerful killer move. Moreover, he didn't defend himself at all. All of his moves were for the sake of his life. Transform. Haitian used the secret art of returning truth to activate the ancient seal in his hand. The ancient seal immediately came to life and a wave of heaven transformation seals surged forth, dispersing all of the immeasurable old man's attacks. How is this possible? The immeasurable old man was on the verge of going crazy. He attacked with all his might as boundless destructive divine light gushed out from his hands, piercing towards Haitian below. However, the heaven transformation seal's power enveloped Haitian within. At this moment, Haitian was simply invulnerable to all attacks. All attacks could be dispelled. Enough. Haitian made his move. A nearly invisible sword light flew out from his body. It pierced through the layer of heaven transformation seal's power and shot towards the immeasurable old man who was crazily attacking him. Just as the invisible sword light was about to strike the immeasurable old man, a figure suddenly appeared behind the immeasurable old man. He grabbed the immeasurable old man by his collar and flung him away. At the same time that the person flung the immeasurable old man away, he stretched out his left hand and flicked the invisible sword light away. When everyone saw this scene, they couldn't help but be shocked. From grabbing the immeasurable old man, to flinging him away, to flicking the invisible sword light away, all of these actions were completed in an instant. It could be said to be extremely fast. Boss Yu. Haitian didn't understand why Gu Fei wanted to save this old man. The person who acted could only be Gu Fei. Because among everyone present, only Gu Fei had such cultivation and strength. No one else could do so. Only he could easily capture the immeasurable old man and flick away Haitian's invisible sword light. This person doesn't deserve to die, Gu Fei said. This immeasurable old man's lineage actually obtained an incomplete version of one of the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao, the secret art of returning truth. This could also be considered a form of fate. Haitian retracted his invisible sword. After thinking for a moment, he no longer acted. At this moment, heavy footsteps rang out in the surroundings. The battle between Haitian and the immeasurable old man had caused quite a commotion. It had long alarmed the stone men in the city. Roar! Dull roars rang out in the surroundings as a heaven-shaking aura constantly erupted. This time, the stone men that appeared seemed to be even stronger than before. Everyone was incomparably nervous. This place wasn't far from the center of the ancient city. The stone men that appeared here would definitely be very difficult to deal with. Bang! Everyone stared at the corner of the street. As the heavy footsteps rang out, a figure appeared at the end of the street. It was a stoneman that was a head taller than the average stoneman. Moreover, the stoneman was clad in thick armor and held a bronze spear in his hand. This was a general among the stonemen. A heaven-shaking killing intent emanated from the general. It was as if a general who had experienced many battles had appeared before everyone's eyes. Trespassers shall die. A divine will rippled out from the general's body as a voice rang out in everyone's hearts. At the same time, 2 rays of green light shot out from the general's eyes, sweeping through everyone. What? Everyone couldn't help but be shocked at this scene. This general actually had its own consciousness. This was bad. At this moment, more stone men stood out from the corner of the street. Very soon, there were over 100 stone men standing behind the general. Every single one of them had a powerful baleful aura coiling around them. Gu Fei couldn't be more familiar with this baleful aura. This was a baleful aura that could only be condensed after killing many living beings. In other words, these stone men had killed many living beings in the past. Is this a soldier left behind by the ancient sages? Chapter 1848. The stone general was incomparably powerful, as if a true saint had descended. Moreover, the corpse general that appeared at the corner of the street was different from the other golems. This stone general had its own consciousness. This was not a good thing. Kill! Without saying anything else, the stone general led hundreds of golems and charged at Gu Fei's group. A powerful aura surged forth, as if thousands of soldiers and horses were charging. Everyone's expression changed at this scene. Buzz! At this moment, a sword chime suddenly came from the sky. A man and a sword appeared above the stone general. Then, a golden sword ray descended from the sky and slashed at the stone general. It's him! Hei Tian was startled at the sight of the man. The man standing on the golden sword was the tall and skinny middle-aged man from the Heavenly Rapier sect. His cultivation was also astonishing. He had actually recovered so quickly. Clang! The stone general raised the bronze spear in his hand and collided with the golden sword ray that swept down from the sky. The golden sword ray shattered and turned into millions of golden rays, dissipating in the air. What? The sword spirit was shocked. The stone general was much more powerful and terrifying than he had imagined. One should know that the sword ray from the golden saint dragon was easily blocked by the stone general. The sword spirit is out of luck, the mysterious woman muttered to herself. Her face was covered by a silk scarf embroidered with a divine phoenix. No one could see her true appearance. The sword spirit was one of the 10 sword emperors of the Heavenly Rapier sect. This time, he had brought the golden saint dragon with him. Previously, he had worked with the other 6 half-saints to revive the golden saint dragon and break the ancient city's formation, allowing everyone to enter the ancient city. Swoosh! At this moment, the stone general on the ground stabbed at the sword spirit in the sky with his bronze spear. A powerful force spread in all directions. This was the power of a saint. Boom! With a loud bang, sword spirit's son was sent flying thousands of meters away along with his sword. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. If not for the golden saint dragon's sword blocking most of the power of Shizhang's attack, he would have been smashed into pieces. So strong! Everyone's hearts pounded when they saw this. The power the stone general was displaying was too great. This was practically a saint taking action. Xian Tong immediately turned around and left. Such an existence wasn't something he could contend against. If he didn't leave, he might lose his life here. Those who could become half-sages had lived for countless years and were extremely astute. Even their eyelashes were blank. When they saw that the situation was bad, some of them tried to flee. Kill! The stone general led over 100 stone golems and charged towards Gu Fei's group like a flood. Under the stone general's lead, the 100 stone golems all emitted powerful energy fluctuations. Roar! At this moment, a person appeared from the corner of the street behind Shijiang. This person roared loudly and directly rushed into the sky. Then, he swung the halberd in his hand and used all his strength to smash it down on Shijiang's head. It's Qiu Wuqing. He's here too. Even He Tian couldn't help but be moved when he saw that someone was attacking Stone General. However, he was even more shocked when he saw that it was Qiu Wuqing who was attacking. Clang! The sound of metal colliding was heard. The Stone General held the bronze spear with both hands and raised it up, blocking the black halberd that was smashing down. What? Qiu Wuqing couldn't help but be shocked when he saw that his opponent was able to withstand his attack. His god-fiend body was extremely strong. Even if there was an ancient sacred mountain below him, it would probably be smashed into pieces by this attack. However, this fierce attack was blocked by his opponent. A strong rebounding force came from the halberd, causing his hands to feel a little numb. The Stone General actually didn't feel good either. If one looked closely, one could see that there were extremely fine cracks on his arms. However, these cracks didn't appear for long and disappeared very quickly. In this attack, either side gained any advantage. Humph! The Stone General suddenly raised his head. Two powerful rays of divine light shot out from his eyes and pierced towards Qiu Wuqing. Qiu Wuqing hurriedly flew backwards and avoided the two rays of divine light shot out from the Stone General's eyes. In an instant, he retreated thousands of feet away. His movements were so fast that few could catch up to him. This Stone General is very strong, the mysterious woman said. Qiu Wuqing had the god-fiend body. Needless to say, his physical body was strong. There really weren't many people who could compete with him in terms of physical strength. Kill! The Stone General held the bronze spear in his hand and rushed towards Qiu Wuqing. However, the direction of the hundreds of Stone General didn't change. They continued to rush towards Gu Fei and the others. Although there were only hundreds of Stone General, it gave people the feeling that there were thousands of soldiers and horses. Swoosh! Gu Fei moved. In a flash, he had already rushed into the crowd of Stone General. Bang! The head of the first Stone General was blown up by Gu Fei's punch. Boom! Immediately after, Gu Fei swept his right leg and broke the waists of the two Stone General that came from behind him. In an instant, he had crippled 3 Stone General. Gu Fei was really strong to the point that it made people's hearts tremble. Close combat was the strength of warriors. In a fight, as long as warriors got close to one's body, the consequences would be very serious. Therefore, in ancient times, when other cultivators fought with warriors, they didn't dare to let their opponents get close to them. At this time, Gu Fei was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. He used both his hands and feet and constantly smashed Stone General under his fists. Most of the Stone General that was kicked by him were also kicked into pieces. In just a few breaths' time, Gu Fei had crippled this group of over 100 stone men, and the streets were littered with shattered stones. Seeing this scene, even the mysterious woman couldn't help but be shocked. This Gu Fei was indeed worthy of being a successor of the martial Dao. His combat strength was so strong that it was simply unheard of. Is this person really only a half-step saint? On top of a building far away from the ancient city, a young man was watching the development of the situation coldly. This person was Long Bedeo, who had escaped from the hands of Gu Fei and He Tian. No one knew when Long Bedeo had already sneaked into the ancient city. In the other directions of the ancient city, there were also half-step saints watching. Gu Fei's combat strength was displayed, which made everyone afraid of Gu Fei. At this time, the battle between Qiu Wuqing and the Stone General was also continuing. At this moment, Qiu Wuqing and the Stoneman General were still fighting. Boom! Clang! The battle was extremely intense, and the two great experts clashed continuously. Especially on Qiu Wuqing's body, there were divine patterns and demonic patterns intertwining, and the power of the god-devil body was overwhelming. The halberd in Qiu Wuqing's hand continued to shatter the void and collided with the bronze battle spear in the stoneman general's hand. Countless Tao patterns appeared and then dissipated. Gu Fei stood on the deserted street and looked up. With just a glance, he knew that Qiu Wuqing would not lose, but it would be very difficult for him to win. The stoneman general's body contained a strand of divine thought. It was unknown whether this strand of divine thought was derived from the stoneman general itself, or a remnant thought left by the ancient sages on the stoneman general. However, because of the existence of this remnant thought, the stoneman general's combat power was raised to a level that was infinitely close to that of a sage. When one's cultivation reached the level of a saint ruler, one's divine thought could be divided into millions. This kind of technique was not a difficult thing to do. Kill. The stoneman general's combat power was shocking. The bronze battle spear in its hand emitted a shocking power that shook the heavens and the earth. Even Qiu Wuqing was constantly forced to retreat. Gu Fei did not plan to help Qiu Wuqing, because Qiu Wuqing did not ask him to help. Heavy footsteps could be heard. It seemed as though all the stone men in the entire ancient city were gathering towards the area where Gu Fei and the others were at. In the dim sky and earth, a few powerful figures appeared. They were 3 stonemen general. 3 extremely horrifying auras spread from the 3 stonemen general, shocking the surroundings. There are still 3 powerful stone men. Everyone could not help but be shocked when they felt the 3 powerful auras. A single stoneman general was able to resist an existence like Qiu Wuqing. Now that the 3 stoneman generals were here, even Gu Fei might be able to stop them. However, the 3 stoneman generals did not attack immediately. Instead, they surrounded the crowd in a triangular formation. Behind each stoneman general stood many stone men. This was a combat power that could make a demi-sage shudder. The ancient sage was indeed generous. He had actually refined so many stone men and 4 stoneman generals. The stoneman general was an existence that was infinitely close to a sage. Swoosh! Gu Fei glanced at the 3 stoneman generals before he took a step forward and rushed towards the depths of the ancient city. He did not want to drag things out. As long as he could get his hands on the item in the depths of the ancient city, everything would be settled. However, at the moment when Gu Fei moved, the 3 stoneman generals also moved. The 3 stoneman generals were extremely powerful. As they moved rapidly in the void, they left behind afterimages wherever they passed. So fast. Everyone could not help but be shocked when they saw this. The combat power of the stoneman generals was much stronger than they had imagined. The 3 stoneman generals chased after Gu Fei and attacked when they were thousands of feet away from Gu Fei. Boom! A towering flame burst out from one of the stoneman generals. Countless blazing Tao patterns appeared on the stoneman general's body. The stoneman general seemed to have turned into a fire god. The dazzling flame lit up the dark sky. Clang! Another stoneman general also attacked. The stone sword in his hand emitted sword light that was thousands of feet long, forming a dense sword net that enveloped Gu Fei. Roar! Gu Fei didn't stop. He continued to charge forward. At the same time, he threw a punch upwards, directly blasting a big hole in the sword light that enveloped him. At this moment, a silhouette flashed in front of Gu Fei. A stoneman general had already blocked in front of him. Scram! Gu Fei roared furiously. He swung his fist and smashed it forward. The powerful force caused space to collapse, and then it shattered, transforming into a destructive force that rushed forward. Roar! The stoneman general in front of Gu Fei also roared. He did not dodge and punched towards Gu Fei's fist. On the stoneman's fist, there were Tao patterns appearing. Boom! With a loud bang, the 2 fists collided in an instant. A powerful ripple of energy spread from their fists, forcing the other 2 stoneman warriors to retreat. Gu Fei's fist force just happened to restrain the fire element stoneman general's divine fire. What? That fiery stone being general was beyond astounded. Was this human truly a half-saint? This sort of combat strength was definitely not something that a half-saint could possess. The 3 golem warriors had no choice but to fight Gu Fei together. Even though Gu Fei was extremely strong and was known to be invincible within the same cultivation state, he did not dare to be careless against these 3 golem warriors. After all, these 3 golem warriors were war puppets that were crafted by the ancient saint kings. These 3 golem warriors had their own unique skills. They were the fiery general, the Herculean general, and the god sword general respectively. The Herculean general had a pair of stone arms that were filled with Tao patterns. These were arms that could even match up to a holy weapon, possessing an unparalleled amount of strength. The attacks of the Herculean general were simple and direct. A single punch of his was enough to destroy the void. This sort of supreme strength was something that only Gu Fei's half-saint martial body could contend against. Gu Fei was incomparably ferocious as he clashed with the Herculean general repeatedly. With his immense strength, he forced the Herculean general to retreat. As for the fiery general and the god sword general, they struck out with their strongest attacks at Gu Fei while Gu Fei was clashing with the Herculean general. Their terrifying strength rippled out in all directions. The mysterious woman, He Tian, and the others had no choice but to retreat far away. Roar! Gu Fei's long hair fluttered in the wind as divine light shot out from his eyes. He instantly appeared in front of the Herculean general and fiercely clashed with his fists. At the same time, a stone sword pierced toward the space between his eyebrows. It was extremely fast, and he could only tilt his head to avoid the fatal spot between his eyebrows. The stone sword pierced through his forehead and cut off a lock of hair in front of his forehead. The fiery general also attacked with all his strength. Great flames burned the sky. Within the monstrous divine fire, a fire dragon rushed out and attempted to devour Gu Fei. Bang! Gu Fei directly punched the fire dragon and shattered it. However, he himself was also sent flying hundreds of meters away by the powerful strength contained within the fire dragon. Even someone as strong as Gu Fei could not gain any advantage against 3 golem warriors who were infinitely close to the holy weapon realm. Good. What other tricks do you have? Use them quickly. The stronger the golem warrior was, the stronger Gu Fei's battle intent was. His battle intent was like a rainbow. After stopping his retreat, he immediately rushed over again. The battle continued. The 3 golem warriors fought against Gu Fei. It was difficult to determine the victor in a short time. At this moment, the stone golems that were gathering from all directions finally managed to surround Erebus and the others. There were simply too many stone golems in this ancient city. In the dusky world, a few people were running for their lives. Behind them was a group of stone golems. These stone golems were all battle tools. The ancient sage had only given these stone golems the simplest order, and that was to kill all living beings that intruded into the ancient city. Pfft! A mist of blood suddenly appeared. A golem behind a golem caught up to a cultivator who was running for his life. His physical body exploded. Even his primordial spirit could not escape. Both his body and soul were destroyed. Even someone as strong as a half-sage could only run for his life when facing a group of golems whose battle strength was comparable to a sage-to-be. There were cultivators fighting with the golems in other areas of the ancient city. Half-sages were constantly being killed by the golems. The most powerful golem warriors were attracted by Gu Fei and Qiu Wuqing. Otherwise, these half-sages who intruded into the ancient city would be in big trouble. At this time, Erebus and the mysterious woman were also fighting the stone golems that were coming from all directions. Buzz! The void trembled. The mysterious woman pulled the divine bow in her hand and shot out divine fire arrows. These were divine arrows that contained the power of the great Tao. Every arrow could penetrate a golem. The divine bow in the mysterious woman's hand was a divine weapon. The divine arrows shot by this divine bow were shockingly powerful. In just a short while, more than 10 golems were pierced by the divine arrows shot by the divine bow in the mysterious woman's hand. Meanwhile, He Tian directly took out a killing array and trapped a group of golems in it. The others did not have the cultivation and strength of He Tian and the mysterious woman. Therefore, they began to run for their lives. The immeasurable old man was really unlucky. His heaven transformation seal had been taken away by He Tian. At this time, he was surrounded by 4 or 5 golems. He did not even have the chance to escape. Without any suspense, the immeasurable old man was killed by those 5 golems. The bloodlines of these ancient beasts all had inheritances left behind by their ancestors. As long as these beasts were powerful to a certain extent, they would be able to obtain these inheritances. These ferocious beasts also knew that the outside world was more suitable for them than this immortal land. This world was merely a world refined by the ancient sage. The laws of the world here were not complete. No matter how hard these ferocious beasts cultivated, it was impossible for them to become sages. In other words, this world was suppressing the creatures here. If they wanted to go to the next level, they had to enter a perfect world. This was because only in a flawless world could they comprehend the complete Great Tao. Compared to the half-saints from the outside world, the creatures in the sage realm wanted to break through this world and enter the real world. At this moment, there were dozens of powerful life auras in the ancient city. The powerful beings in the sage realm all knew that there was something in the divine city in the sky that could help them escape. Therefore, every 10,000 years, there would be peerless ferocious beasts attacking the divine city in the sky. It had only been 5,000 years since the last time they attacked the divine city. This was not the best time to attack the divine city. However, the arrival of Gu Fei and the others had changed everything. Wu! Just as Gu Fei and the others were fighting with the stone warrior general, an ancient horn sounded from the depths of this world. Then, extremely powerful ferocious beasts charged out from all over the world, including peerless demons that could take human form. "It's not time yet. Why did you blow the horn?" The voice of a great demon reverberated in the sky, spreading to every corner of the world. "Why did you alarm us? You should know that we have yet to fully recover." A black dragon descended in the sky above the mountain. His will swept in all directions. This was one of the big shots in the sage realm. His cultivation had already surpassed the standard. He only needed to soar into the sky and he would become a sacred dragon. A figure walked out from the depths of the mountain. It was a middle-aged man who was covered in flames. The middle-aged man held a black horn in his hand. "The humans from the outside have already broken through the divine city in the sky." The middle-aged man was also one of the big shots in the sage realm. He was the one who blew the horn and alarmed the other 2 big shots. "What, is that true?" The 2 big shots were shocked. They had been in charge of the world for hundreds of thousands of years. They had attacked the divine city in the sky no less than 10 times, but every time, they would suffer great losses. They could not break through the formation set up by the sage realm. How could they not be shocked when they suddenly heard that the humans from the outside had broken through the divine city in the sky? "This is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. We should gather all of our soldiers and attack the divine city to obtain that item." The 3 magnates were extremely excited. Their cultivation had long since reached the limit that this world allowed. It was impossible for them to advance any further in this sage world. They knew that attacking the divine city in the sky would cause great losses, but they still attacked once every 10,000 years, also that they could leave this world. Very soon, the 3 big shots gathered 100,000 ferocious beast soldiers. A small number of great demons were also gathered. In an instant, the banners of the Lord of the Divine Mountain fluttered in the wind. The top of the mountain was filled with the figures of incomparably ferocious beasts. Under the lead of the 3 great leaders, the 100,000 soldiers soared into the sky like a dark cloud, blocking out the sky. Roar! Kill! The roars of the beasts shook the sky and the earth, causing the sky to change color.